Hello and welcome to the Sydney Cricket Ground for the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. It is the Sydney Swans versus the Brisbane Lions. The Swans, minor premiers, up against the Lions, second on the ladder. And the Lions was the only side to beat the Swans in the regular season. They did so twice out of the 3 encounters. We are set for what should be an absolute beauty. These NEAFL deciders have a history of being nail-biting, tight tussles, and we hope this evening will be entertaining for you wherever you are tuning in. My name is Will Davies, and a pleasure to be alongside Mark Kanga-Kennedy and Michael Price for this evening's clash. Mark, welcome to you. What are you looking forward to most?
Well, these are the two best sides all season. It's 1 versus 2. They've been dominant throughout season 2017. Of course, they've clashed a few times during the season. It's been the Swans that have held sway in the ladder, but it's the Lions that have held sway in their head-to-head meetings. I'm looking forward to the midfield battle. I think it's going to be the telling factor of this game this evening.
And Michael, welcome to you. You've seen a lot of the Brisbane Lions. Do you think they are a chance? The Swans have been pretty strong, especially in the prelim.
Oh, look, the Swans have been obviously the best team in the competition all year. Their percentage is outrageous. Their goal-scoring average is outrageous. The Brisbane Lions, well, they're second, and they were the only side to do damage to the Swans twice this year. Now, I agree with Kanga as far as the midfield battle goes, but I'm really looking forward to the ruck battle. Having Kurt Tippett come and play for the Sydney Swans tonight is a massive in, even though Naismith was moved out. Archie Smith and Oscar McInerney are the keys in the ruck for the Sydney Swans. They will feed it to the midfield to propel that midfield battle. So I think that's where it starts. It's going to be a beauty. It could go to extra time, Will.
Yeah, it certainly has a precedent to be tight at the final siren, these NEAFL Grand Finals. Not far away from an opening bounce, a couple of late changes from the listed teams. Harry Cunningham was taken up into the AFL side. He has been replaced in the NEAFL team by academy player Sam Wicks. And for the Lions, perhaps an even bigger out, Hamilman, one of their key forwards, 40-odd goals. He's injured and he has been replaced by Jack Clayton. Gents, how do you see that affecting it?
Well, for me, the Hamilman one is very crucial. He apparently did a hamstring at training, so a cruel blow for him. But what a great opportunity for young Jack Clayton. He's been fantastic throughout the season. Anyway, he's played a good majority of games this year. And, of course, in terms of the Sydney Swans, Cunningham, he's a massive out. And Wicks, massive in as well.
We're about to get going quickly. Michael, a tip for you?
I'll say Sydney by 1 point in extra time.
I think the Swans might get them by about 30. To get us underway is Mark Kanga-Kennedy.
2017 NEAFL Grand Final underway here at the SCG. Smith went early. Underneath went Tippett. Couldn't take it with him. Here's Robinson. Gets it underway. Dawson's dispossessed. Plenty of players around there. Fisher stolen by Smith. They'll look to get it away. Cox, although Keys gets it. Ruben William and the Lions, they get it going their way early. Harry Marsh, he'll take it. Aaliyah from half back does well. The Swans, they'll try and feed it by hand. It ends up with Marsh. A little bit of room to move. Takes it through the forward line. And a good mark inside forward 50 for the Sydney Swans. Under tight attention getting up will be Toby Pink.
I'll have a go at Toby Pink. Now, these are the mid-sized Sydney forwards that are going to provide some real damage. You've got Rose, you've got Pink, and if they move the ball in quickly like they just did there, they're going to provide heaps of damage to the Brisbane Lions early.
He's played every game so far in season 2017 in the NEAFL. 22 goals. The chance to add the first one for the grand final. From 48 metres, it hits the post. Bit of an anti-climax. Get us underway. The Lions, we'll see what they can do out of defence.
Yeah, interesting though, the way that Pink's been able to drop forwards and take that big mark. It's an error from the Lions. Ruben Williams put himself under all sorts of pressure. 4 Swans surrounding the Lions, looking to get out of trouble, and Clay Beams is the avenue. Really solid stuff from the Lions under all sorts of pressure early. Mark has been taken out there by Close. Just goes long and sets it up. Aaliyah is looming large. He can't get to the contest, and Freeman dropped off Marsh, which allows Ballenden to run forwards now. Jono Freeman gets them going. First inside 50 for the Lions. Kurt Tippett, an almost uncontested mark. What an in he is today, allowing Pink to go forwards. Last time they played in round 19, the Lions won and the Swans were without a recognised ruckman. And here is Alex Johnson. What a season on the comeback trail for him. Jordan Dawson now corralled in defence. He'll go back to Johnson.
So Johnson, not sure where to go. Goes backwards. O'Riordan just traverses to Laidler. Former Geelong and Carlton player goes out wide. Aliir just drops it through the bread basket. Has time to pick it up. Then gives it off to Foot. The run through. Indiscriminate kick inside forward 50. Goes to the back. Cox tackled by Edwards, but manages to get away to Payne. He's dispossessed. The Swans go round the corner. And only a minor. It was good pressure by them. That time applied by Hayward.
Yeah, Jack Payne there, just not showing awareness, just to take his time and get the ball out of the danger area. He basically just thought he had too much time, I should say.
We've seen the early danger that Will Hayward brings at this level. Lions go long. Buick goes towards McInerney with a big fly. Can't take the mark. Ballenden has it. Just hand passes it to nobody to try and keep it in. The boundary line does win. And Michael, you've seen McInerney certainly in the prelim as well take some massive marks.
Yes, and he was one of the key players in that preliminary final win over Sydney Uni. He won the Brisbane Lions best and fairest in the NEAFL grade, and he is a key for today's match, especially with Tippett in for the Swans.
Smith won it over the top. Dawson breaks that up ever so slightly. Clayton was dispossessed himself. Aliir gets it out to Jack. Looks over the top for Tippett. It was the other number 8, Buick, who sharked it. Both sides just not quite using the ball as cleanly as they'd like. It's loose inside the centre square. Dawson hits it hard. It's Dawson for the Lions. Goes long towards Freeman. Was he pushed out? He certainly was. It is a free kick inside forward 50 for one of the most dangerous forwards for the Lions, Jono Freeman.
Well, gentlemen, I reckon that's where the Brisbane Lions have got Sydney in trouble. If they move the ball in quickly into their forward 50, they're tall timber. The Jono Freemans of the world are going to provide a lot of problems for what is basically a mid-sized defence.
Well, Freeman has been superb for the Lions at NEAFL level this year. He's kicked a goal in all but 2 of his 19 NEAFL games. A really solid performer. And a chance to get the opening goal of the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. Freeman trots in, very measured in his approach. The kick looks all right, but it is errant and through for a minor score. So 4.5 played. It is the Swans 2 behinds to the Lions 1.
Swans just bring it in. It's Jordan Dawson, been prolific so far this year. Gets it off to Florin. Has the run of Robinson over the top. So from defence to attack, they go quickly. Up forward, Edwards. He was coming out to meet it. Pink was there as well. Edwards stayed down, but Coxwell just about taking over the boundary line. No. Gets it back to Foot, who in turn gives it to Rose, a noted goal kicker, but pulls it. And the Shaggy lookalike from Scooby-Doo only registers the minor.
Look, James Rose averages 2.6 goals a game. He is a dangerous conveyance for the Swans. They've got to keep an eye on him, the Brisbane Lions defence.
And he's had a great end to the season as well in front of goal. The kick this time from the Lions out of defensive 50 is a decent one. Ben Keys has it for the Lions. Prolific ball winner for them this year, averaging about 28 disposals a game. Goes with the left boot in the Archie Smith direction. What a battle that is between Smith and Kurt Tippett. And it is slapped towards the line by Alex Johnson. We'll have the ball in. The Swans make plenty of changes.
That was one of the key things in their last man they didn't have was a ruckman. The last time these two teams played, but Kurt Tippett obviously filling that void beautifully.
So Tippett wins out against Smith. What a presence he is, and he'll be keen to put on a show and work his way back into the Sydney AFL side. He beat Essendon in the elimination final before this one, as the Lions moved up to Campbell Walker.
Walker, another one who's played every game this year. Season 2017. Another push was Freeman. Umpire says nothing doing there. Ripped off it there was O'Riordan by Keys, and the ball spills out the boundary line. 50 metres around from goal.
Yeah, some good body work there. Jono Freeman probably needed to be a little bit harder on the ball there. It's a grand final. We need to get right into it, fellas.
Slippery conditions here. You've got to keep your feet. Tippett at front spot. Robinson down on it. Sharking it there is Jacob Allison. On the left foot, puts it up to the tall timber. Freeman just went over the back. And it was McInerney that was approaching. Swans defence did well. Ball spills over the boundary line.
This is where McInerney was very good last week, well, because he spent a hell of a lot of time up forward. He kicked 2 goals, 3, so he wasn't just good in the ruck contests, he provided a massive target up forward. He could be doing so tonight again.
They've got a great back six, the Swans, but they will be tested tonight in terms of height. Tippett again. Front position, wins it down. Chance here for the Lions. Chain of hand passes. Buick up against the boundary line, but the pressure from the Swans was good. It'll stay in and then just be slapped out by Josh Clayton. The relation, I'm informed, from north of the New South Wales and Queensland border to Josh, or to Jack rather.
Josh Clayton, the son of Scott Clayton. And of course, a great recruiting guru of the AFL.
Tippett from the back works his way to the front. What a start he's had in the ruck. Keys hard up against the boundary line, and Josh Clayton sees it out of play as he juggles possession.
Both sides just feeling each other out at the moment. It's early doors in a grand final. They're just a little bit of a fumble. There's a bit of a dew on the ground as well. So just feeling each other out at the moment.
McInerney from the back, but Robinson gets it. Coming through, there's Laidler to the middle of the ground. Leonardis can't handle it. Good pressure by Brisbane. Clay Beams now to Buick on that left foot again. Is anybody there to assist? Brisbane, no. O'Riordan dropped it. Freeman just taps it to Brewer, and then did he get one in the back? No, says the umpire. A fair tackle. That was supplied on that occasion by Florence.
Seeing that errant disposal in, they need to be a lot better, the Lions. The Swans have burned so many sides when they muck around with the ball going forwards.
His foot with the top knot. You won't miss him tonight. Reaching for it is Hayward. Cox is right there with him, gets the handball away. Jansen stands in the tackle, but Edwards, the opposite 16, is it 19 he is, looking at him upside down.
Yeah, great tackle from Sean Edwards, and St Mary's product from the NT. This is his 3rd club. He was with GWS, Essendon. He averages 21 disposals, and the man can tackle as well. They need more of that, the Sydney Swans.
So they moved it to the wing, the Sydney Swans, right in front of our commentary position. Tippett, assume front spot again. Jansen lays a tackle. And it's going nowhere. Leonardis wrapped up. It's like Smith is allowed Tippett the front spot. He does it again, although Clay Beams wins the ball. Sharks a clearance. Good punch there by the Sydney defence. O'Riordan, it's Gruel with the tackle. Are they going to come away with it? No. Brisbane working very hard around the contest. Throw was called from the crowd. Doesn't matter because the Swans come away. Leonardis right to the forward 50. Reuben spoiled. Edwards on it. Goes out towards Talia. Now back to Edwards. They're just building here. Puts on the skates. His kick's just muffled somewhat. Reuben Wynn can get her away. And the Brisbane defence, they might mop this one up.
Oh, that's big from the Lions. They were under plenty of pressure. They turn it over. O'Riordan, really solid reading of that play. Just floats through. Very congested forward 50. O'Riordan now just sends it towards the top of the square. Players fly. Lions got hands to it. It falls for Dawson. Gets boot to ball. Well read by Allison for the Lions. Takes a bounce and it just sort of slips on this greasy evening surface. But out of the defensive area, the Lions go all the way to the far side of the Sydney cricket ground, and we will have a ball in. Pretty interesting start from both sides. They're lacking their usual clinical best. I wonder if part of that comes down to sitting in the sheds, knowing that the AFL game's been on, the elimination final. The Swans watching their team in a big win over Essendon, and that nervous energy just bubbling over.
So Smith uncontested. Pink now in the ruck. That'll be crucial for the Swans. He gets the handball away. That's Brandon Jack. Payne couldn't take it for Brisbane. Working hard there was Cox, but well done there by Hayward. Couldn't take it with him, no. The defence at Brisbane working very hard. Fisher comes through solidly, met equally. Underneath it's Jansen trying to get rid of it. Umpire crosses his arms and says he'll have it right on forward 50.
It is a real arm wrestle, gents. With the inclusion of Tippett into the ruck, Swans are leading the hit-out 7-3. Clearances are 5 apiece at the minute.
Smith easily in the ruck contest there. Then he butters up, lays the tackle. Umpire will do it all again. And he's hurt himself, Archie Smith. Getting up a little bit ginger. He's an important player, holding his shoulder. Goes hard again. Wins the hit-out. Good tackling there by the Swans. They'll lock it up in that forward half of the ground. Clay Beams getting up from the ball.
Tossed in the air, left half forward for the Sydney Swans NEAFL side. Play worked off it nicely by Ben Keys. Ruben William has been forced to be busy. He's met by a few Swans and just hurriedly gets it out of defensive 50. Well picked up by Close, but again the Swans tackle and the pressure was superb. Pink is rolled over by Smith, spills out for Keys. He's thrown to the turf but wins a free kick for Height. So from right half back, the Lions with a chance just to settle it down a little.
I don't mind that free kick from the Sydney Swans. They showed a lot of aggression there, and that is what is key in a grand final, those contested areas and showing a little bit of intent there.
You were saying that before, weren't you? And it's a very valid point. We're used to games of this magnitude starting with a bit more of a bang. These two sides just feeling each other out. Jared Jansen, right half back, former Geelong listed player, just goes long. Up towards forward 50, Smith went for the fist rather than the mark. Aaliyah has it. Stays inside the boundary line and goes to Dawson.
He's at half back, is Dawson. Chips the ball, has Hayward there, now has the run. It comes, Jack feeding it back. Back to Hayward now. Finds a bit of space now to Rhodes, although he slips over. Jansen's there, a little bit cleaner with the hand. Brewer, McInerney, tries to bust through, can't do it. That is holding the ball, so good tackling. Pressure by the Swans and Brandon Jack. Goes up inside forward 50, over the top of Edwards and Eagles. And harmlessly out of play over the boundary line, 20 metres around from the Sydney Swans goal. They're attacking.
Interesting, the tackling stats. Brisbane Lions 13 to Sydney 8 at the present, early doors, but they're putting the pressure on. They're making the Brisbane Lions apply those tackles to the Sydney Swans.
14 minutes gone of this first quarter. No goal to get us underway. Dawson lays a tackle. There's a couple of Swans there, including Edwards. I think we'll see Eagles get up with the ball.
And these are two of the, sorry, Kanga, two of the highest scoring teams in NEAFL history at the minute.
McInerney wins a hit out. Keys is there. McInerney does his own thing in the finish. Eagles. Ball spilled out of his hands and over for a behind. So somewhat stifled start to the evening in terms of scoring at least, Will.
It'll be interesting to see how the Swans handle this. They're used to being pretty comfortable by quarter time. Certainly were in the prelim against the Suns. Keys has been good. Leonardis gets a kick forwards. A bouncing ball goes over the top of Eagles. Ruben Williams got his hands full against a few. The Swans going forwards. Here's Fisher. Outside for Hayward. Dribbles it towards the goal. It's across the face and through for a boundary throw in it. Missed everything, but Ruben Williams a few times they've left him in amongst about 4 different Swans and they've all just been having a good old crack at him. The Lions still in all sorts of danger. Toby Pink is into the ruck. McInerney took front position. Talia's hand pass only as far as Cox, and Brewer hurriedly towards the boundary line and out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, Blake Brewer just hacking it out of defence there. Fortunately for the Sydney Swans, floated over, and they've got yet another chance to apply the pressure.
So Marsh loads it up right to the teeth of the goal square. Ambitious leap there by Edwards. Ball spills over. And harmlessly out of bounds it goes yet again. They're pressing the Swans. They just can't put it on the scoreboard at the moment.
They can't, but they've got, the Brisbane Lions have got every player on the field more or less inside defensive 50, so they've really choked up the area.
Structure is just doing enough to keep them inside that forward 50, the Swans. McInerney it was. Brewer went hard. Got it back to Lyons. Lyons comes down the wing. 2-on-1. Maybaum and also Aaliyah. They might make a mess of it. Well done on that occasion. And that was by O'Sullivan. And he wins the free kick. It was somewhat fortunate. Is this 50 as well?
Is this what we call the noise of affirmation in the grandstand here at the SCG? You can tell that it's a Sydney home game. Don't worry about that.
Well, the boy from Mount Gravatt, he's played 16 games this year. 6 goals, 6. So a 50% strike rate. And as far as a big kick in his burgeoning career, this is probably the biggest one. Loads it up from 40. It's good off the boot. The first blood drawn by the Brisbane Lions. The crowd don't like it, but the scoreboard, it'll have to say what it says.
Yes, Luke O'Sullivan, he kicked a goal last week. He's only kicked the 4th of the year. That was his 5th, and what a time to do it. The first goal of the grand final, and a Lions Academy player who's had a really good season, Kanga. He's one of those guys, the handful of young Academy players in both teams that have stepped up during the year, and what a night for him to contribute to his side. Well done.
Great to see the Lions, and this has been a real feature of them in their run towards the finals. Anytime an Academy player does something of significance, they all flood in, and it's as if they're really just making them feel even more welcome. And not all of the AFL sides are that giving.
No. Culture. They've really bred a culture that works for them.
Absolutely.
Back underway, Tippett into the ruck. Lions has been all right. Ruben William getting away from defence. I bet he's pleased about that. A long ball, and this time Aliir able to take the mark. Aliir, the defensive general for this NEAFL side, was named as an AFL emergency and hasn't played since being a late out earlier in the season for some tardiness. Nice work by O'Riordan, but can't keep it in. Ian Hanley, good to see that. The boy from County Mayo and the boy from County Tipperary getting stuck into each other early in the NEAFL Grand Final. Ian Hanley still developing his craft. O'Riordan is firming as a solid chance to be in that AFL side next year for the Swans. Robinson getting involved. McInerney, a quick kick, a spiral into forward 50, and it lands on the chest of young Connor Ballenden. One of the ins today for the Lions. He's had a massive year, the Academy player, and in a lot of people's books, Pricey, a surety to be taken early in the draft.
And Ken roosted this young man. He would be another 10 metres back and he'd still be lining him up.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how he goes. A third ruckman for the Brisbane Lions. They must be excited, Will.
Well, he's had 8 goals from his 6 NEAFL games this season. This for number 9, and a big shot for the Lions early. Silence from the Swans crowd here at the SCG. It is the visiting side, 2-1-13, leading the Swans 4 behind. We've played 19 minutes in the opening term of this NEAFL Grand Final, and this is exactly the sort of start the Lions need.
Well, exactly, considering the fact that Sydney have had 10 inside 50s to Brisbane's 8, 4 behinds to the 2 goals won. Now, when it comes down to it, Tippett's winning the hit-outs, and he's winning them reasonably well, 10-8, but Brisbane are winning the centre clearances 10-4. They're getting the ball out of the middle.
Quite amazing. If you said who was going to kick the first 2 goals of the game, you probably wouldn't have said Brisbane, and then you probably wouldn't have said that they were the 2 Academy boys that were going to kick those goals in Ballenden and also O'Sullivan. We're away again. Give that one to Tippett again, but this time it's Josh Clayton comes away right to forward 50, jumping early with Freeman, gives it off. O'Sullivan again, right in front of goal. That time he pulls it. Little bit tentative. Had the opportunity, Pricey, to put it to the sword in terms of a result.
They are the opportunities in a grand final. You will rue eventually. They will catch up on you later on in the game.
Well, the Swans need something 4 behinds to start this grand final. The minor premiers only lost 2 games all season. Both of those were, though, against the Lions. Ollie Florent goes to Marsh. The pressure's there. Just gets his kick away. Good strength from Marsh, but maybe it was affected. Taken by Hinge at centre-half back. Left foot kick is a good one. Corey Lyons has had a fair bit of it. He just dinks it over the top to the run of Rowan Buick. Really good mark from him. He had an outstanding start in the preliminary final. Really set the tone for the Lions. Big match up there against Robinson. He goes long. Aliir comes from the side. McInerney a couple of grabs. Marsh gets it and just clears the ball long.
Eagles is there though. He'll mop it up for Brisbane. And he'll launch it back inside forward 50. Looking for the tall timber yet again. McInerney at the back. He tries it again. It was Florent. Now Tippett. They come away. O'Riordan, and the same result, it ends up with Eagles yet again, so they're just wasting it coming out of their back half.
But the Lions have set up beautifully. They set up a bit of a wall across the midfield, and they're just peppering. They're continuing to bomb it in. Sydney under a lot of pressure at the moment.
Now, they put themselves under a pressure again because Ruben William just swooped on the errant handball. The Swans had to go with it, and he just wrapped him up, forced a turnover, right to the top of the square again, and Tippett. No mark paid. They thought he had it. There's Jansen on the bottom for the Lions. Maybaum, he was there, former All-Australian from last year. Maybaum. and just did enough to tie the ball up in front of the Lions' goal.
And interesting to see the Swans drop Tippett back and try and fill the space in front of Oscar McInerney, who's looming large every time those quick and long balls come into 50. Here's Keys, left foot out of congestion, and it's across the face and out of bounds on the full. So the Swans dodge a bullet, but the signs are good for the Lions inside forward 50.
They are at the moment, and Oscar McInerney, if he doesn't take the mark, he will bring it to ground, and that brings the smaller Brisbane Lions forwards into play. The Swans, well, it's only early doors, don't worry about that.
Here's Jordan Foote. He has been superb at shutting down the opposition ball winners so far. He's running with Clay Beams, goes to Sam Fisher, a NEAFL premier with the Giants last year, into forward 50. Eagles, what a tackle from Matt Eagles. He's wrapped up his opposing number, but it'll be a ball up. So superb from Eagles. Was it Hayward that he swallowed? No, it was Ben Ronk, in fact. So the first year Swan instantly wrapped up by Eagles. Here's Archie Smith against Tippett. Archie Smith with a rare win. Robinson sharks it. Jack was smothered. Gets it again. Goes back to Florent. Sends it towards an openish goal square, but it's offline. And through for a minor score. 5 behind the Swans. Still chasing that first goal. The Lions have done well clogging that space.
And they just barely lead the possession count at 38-33, but they're just being a little bit more effective with it at the moment, the Lions.
So Eagles, the back pocket, out of side. Goes down the line now. Looking for the tall timber. McInerney fumbles at that time. Keys over the top. As Clayton running for him, that's Josh Clayton looking for Freeman. Just work Marsh off the ball nicely. So at half forward, they're looking for a target. Looking short. Jansen, he was the target. But the man with the same coloured boots as Jared Jansen, that was Aaliyah, just killed it. Punched it easily over the line.
Yeah, they sat it on his head a little bit there, and you watched Aaliyah just jump up and use his athletic ability to just smash it over the boundary line.
Campbell Walker in the corridor to try and go at. Tippett wins the hit out. Keys gives it up quickly. Breaking the tackle was Allison. Left foot kick. Aaliyah stands tall. He's paid the mark. We've just got to work away not to have Aaliyah, the Lions, just stand up there and use his athleticism, make him bring the ball to the ground.
I reckon it could have been a Mark Endor free kick right there.
Well, Aaliyah goes long. That strength from Jordan Foote. Calls for 50 from the home crowd. Foote goes up the wing. Jordan Dawson did just enough against Liam Dawson. Jordan Dawson gets it for the Swans. Up to 50. He loads up. A chance for the Swans first. And a much-needed goal comes for the minor premiers. Jordan Dawson with the strike from 50. A lovely running goal for the Sydney Swans, and that would be relief for Reece Shaw.
We just see him going into the forward 50 arc from right on the paint. What a balanced and beautiful kick from Jordan Dawson. We're having a little bit of a chat off air just before the game and identifying who the potential stars of this game were. And I think all three of us agreed that Jordan Dawson is that player that's going to take the next step up quickly, like your Isaac Heaney's have done over the last couple of years for the Sydney Swans. You've got to very much admire their academy system, the way they produce these footballers. Well done.
Callum Mills is another one that springs readily to mind. Two
ready-made.
They featured in this game preceding the NEAFL Grand Final. Sydney Swans accounting for Essendon quite easily in the finish. Now it's Brisbane by 3 points. Smith went high. Foot in the ball now. That's Florent. Getting it inside forward 50 again. Pink. And also Hayward with the target. Eagles with the handball under pressure. Now to Buick. Has to get his kick quickly. Only gets to Jack. So right on forward 50 he is. So good forward pressure from the Swans. Brandon Jack, he's just going to lob it into a dangerous spot. Looking for the tall timber. Can't find it. That was Walker in the path of Clay Beams. Foot's right there with him. He does well, Foot. The top knot gathers. Goes towards goal. It's across the face. It's juggled. 3 Lions are there. And in the end, that's not a bad result. Leonardis had a bit of a look at it, but I suppose it could have been the Lions taking it away. Instead, it's a boundary throw-in.
Look, another dangerous kick in there, but as you say, outnumbering Sydney with the Brisbane Lions 3-1.
Tippett got it away. Now it's taken by William. Slipping over there. The Lions defence. Here's the boy, Hanley. Kean gets it out of defence. It's at half back still, and over the boundary line it goes. And of course, I'm sure we've got a few people tuning in from beautiful Ireland, having a look at this game.
We certainly hope they're enjoying it. Colin O'Riordan's been a joy to watch in the NEAFL the past 2 seasons, and Kean Hanley has had a rough trot with injury, but good to see him back and playing on the grandest of stages in the NEAFL. Tippett hurriedly into forward 50. Toby Pink running towards the ball. The bounce doesn't favour him. Eagles just slaps it to Ruben William. Can't get a clean disposal away. Was that a throw? No, says the umpire. Jordan Foot under all sorts of pressure. And it is the foot that makes the mistake. Out of bounds on the full. Important for the Lions to put that pressure on the Swans because it will be reciprocated.
Well, I'm having a look at the stats and thinking that the Brisbane Lions have got a couple of players there in Keys who's had 9, Rowan Buick with 8 and Claybeams with 8. Brandon Jack and Robinson have got 7 apiece.
Well, Hanley lucky to get that ball back and now just goes long. Talia front position. Can't take the mark. Kurt Tippett punching it over. So interesting stages here of this opening term. Almost 28 minutes played and low scoring. You wouldn't think there is too much time left in the opening quarter as we wait for the ball to be fetched down. The players race. We are set to go. It is the Lions leading by 3. This 2017 NEAFL Grand Final, the Swans, minor premiers, the Lions, second on the ladder. Smith over the top did well. Robinson spins out of trouble, gives it to Jack, sends it into forward 50. Ruben William again drops the mark that he probably had rights to. Toby Pink settles. Toby Pink kicks on goal, and Toby Pink hits the post for the second time in the opening quarter.
Well, more opportunities for the Sydney Swans, 6 behinds and only the 1 goal. Just imagine if that was reversed, it'd be a different story, Kanga. Accuracy and good kicking's good footy.
But it is ball now with Hinge. He swings on the left foot. I thought he was going further afield to William, but got it to Eagles. Eagles sits it up. The Lions have the numbers, but Foot makes the good contest. Attacking it hard there is Buick. Now we get the run of it. Gets it to Claybeams. He just gets around one. Sells it. Bit of candy. Now up to Ruben William. He was looking for Jack Clayton. Clayton does well. Almost has his head taken off, and the umpire sees that one. That's a fair free kick.
Umpire that was furthest away from there, Kanga, called that one. But as you called, it was a high contact.
The kick wasn't a good one, so Sydney can come away with it. Mayball. Good kick, finds Pink. They have numbers over the top. It's Wicks. There's Hanley with him. Hanley gets the hand of the ball, brings it to the ground. Wicks gets around. He'll kick a goal. The late inclusion for the Sydney Swans allows them to hit the front.
Great piece of roving here, as you'll see, Kanga. He picks it up and then carves back through traffic and then puts it on the outside of the right shoe in the middle of the goal square. Some brilliant composure again from an academy player and some exciting stuff. This game's just cracking open a little.
They've certainly lifted a couple of gears as both sides seem to settle in, but that was outstanding from Wicks, who came in after Harry Cunningham went into the AFL side. Swans with a big elimination win over Essendon. And this Sydney NEAFL side looking for its first NEAFL Grand Final. The Swans rather looking for their first NEAFL Grand Final. They're 0 from 3 so far in this competition's decider. Grewer, former Redland player, last year's best and fairest, just sends it towards close. Marsh did well. Marsh didn't do well. He's given away the free kick and it'll go the way of Close. Almost played 31 minutes in the opening term. And Close sends it in towards Freeman, who flies, but can't take the mark or get much onto the ball at all. It will be a boundary throw-in. 31 and a half played.
You wouldn't think there was much more time left, Will. 31 and a half gone and not too many goals scored.
No, plenty of behinds. But yeah, no goals. Approaching 32 minutes played now. Tippett again, very solid. The Lions looking to regain their lead. Lear's battling hard. Freeman's there as well. The Lions hard up against the goal line, but that is quarter time in the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. After a very solid start from the Lions, the Swans have pegged them back. And at quarter time, lead 2 goals, 6-18 to the Lions, 2 goals, 2-14. Said a few times, gents, it was a pretty cagey start from both sides. It's starting to warm into the high-octane clash that we expect, and the Swans probably did have the better of it. The scoreboard perhaps a fair reflection. Yeah,
I think so, Kanga. I think when it comes down to it, the stats are relatively even across the board. We look at disposals, 90-88 in favour of Brisbane, tackles 18-17, hit-outs 15-13, so it's all level except when you get to the clearances. Clearances 15-8 in favour of Brisbane. That is the only stat that has blown out. So that's kept them in the game, is actually being able to farm the ball out from stoppages. But Sydney, they need to be more effective. If they had been more effective going into 50, they would have been a hell of a lot more further in front.
Well, the structure to keep the ball inside forward 50 has been very good. It's as you mentioned, Pricey, it's about conversion. At various points in time, Brisbane have had the run of the play as well, and they've been able to keep it in their forward line for good periods of time. We saw them structure up nicely as well. So again, it's that transition play to be able to push back in defence, but also look to really transition the ball consistently and with great efficiency through the middle of the ground, which is not always easy when you're under extreme pressure in your back half.
Well, when you're under extreme pressure, and it's a taxing game style as well, going up and back and up and back, in this kind of pressure cooker environment, is that sustainable up to the final minutes? We'll see how that pans out. But look, I think Sydney, if it was a boxing match, they win the first quarter 10-8. Okay, so I think they just had a few jabs that went through to Brisbane. Brisbane scored a couple of nice goals. Sydney had the opportunities to do so, and 2 posters as well. Let's not forget that. That's a couple of goals from due to a couple of inches away. So I think the Sydney Swans have won that quarter, and the Brisbane Lions probably lucky to be within 4 points, even though they played reasonably well themselves.
I can see both sides in their huddle. Mitch Hahn, the former Bulldogs AFL player and Sylmere Eagles player, and Reece Shaw, the former Swans champion, running their sides through the quarter-time instructions. A big in, and he's hard to miss at NEAFL level. Kurt Tippett really set the tone in the middle for the Swans. They lacked a ruckman of note the last time they played. Toby Pink was forced into the ruck. This time he's able to play up forwards, and he's hit the post twice, those 2 posters you mentioned. But what a difference he's made. Even though the Lions have been good with the clearances, the Swans knowing that their man's getting first hands to the ball in the middle and around the stoppages, that really helps.
Well, the first time the Lions went forward with any great momentum on purpose, Tippett was back there and took an uncontested mark. So that's confidence building for him. He'd probably be hurting a little bit from being relegated from the senior side, the AFL side, down here. But I suppose he needs to mount a case, and that confidence that he can build is something that he'll want to build on, just like the Jordan Foots of the world, the Florence, the Haywoods and those types.
Yeah, there are places on the line, and one of the things Tippett has probably suffered from is Naismith's perceived ability around the ground. So what Tippett can do away from the forward 50, loose footballs along the wings in defence and those marks, going to help his case tenfold.
Absolutely, and Naismith being a more traditional ruckman, I think got him the points there. But Tippett's done reasonably well. He's got a handful of possessions. Well, he's got 3, but 13 hit-outs as well. If you look at the opposite side of the ledger, you've got Archie Smith with 9 and McInerney with 6. So they've just shaded him in that regard. But he's a lone wolf, I suppose, in the ruck against Smith and McInerney changing around. Is that sustainable for the Swans, though, Ken?
Well, for me, when Toby Pink comes in the ruck, that's when Brisbane seemed to get a bit of ascendancy around the contest. And we saw Toby Pink in the last time these two sides played, that Pink was really monstered, to be fair, by McInerney and also Smith. So they'll look to take advantage in those occasions where Tippett does need a rest. And that's when, and what Brisbane need to do when Tippett is in the ruck, they need to be very competitive. I feel they're giving Tippett front spot too much in that ruck contest.
Like they're paying him too much respect because of where he's come from or whatever. But Sydney had to use Aaliyah in that last home away game in the ruck as well. So that's another option. If you don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul and take Pink away from that forward bit, you could actually throw Aaliyah. But again, you're robbing defence. So I still think that is a position that Brisbane can exploit, but Sydney seem to have held on reasonably well so far.
Well, it's about to start all over again for both of these sides. Undoubtedly the two best teams in the NEAFL in 2017. And we've seen sides fall over if they waste the ball or miss targets going forwards. The Swans love to hit sides on the counter. So the Lions have done a pretty good job of using the ball going into forward 50. And they do lead the competition in effective kicks per game and the lowest clangers per game. That needs to continue for the Lions because the Swans haven't really got themselves going, but their first goal of the grand final was the side working their way around the outer side of the centre square. Dawson on the run, eventually receiving a bit of fortune, but taking that chance at full stride at forward 50.
Well, Brisbane like those open spaces and like the loose ball gets and the uncontested possessions, where Sydney, they're a contested possession machine, aren't they?
Well, they're the best in the comp at contested possessions and hard ball gets. So they're very good football side. Let's see what the second quarter's got in store for it.
Well, 4 points the margin. It is the minor premiers just shading the Lions. The Lions got the Swans in a NEAFL grand final a few years ago. We'll start the second term. Mark Kanga Kennedy.
Theatre. Hesitation before the ball bangs into the middle of the SCG. McInerney on that occasion gets it away. Jansen back to McInerney. Now to Keys to forward 50. This would be a good start. Touched on the line. Might have just been offline anyway. And Alir. He just got back and touched it. Ronk. Boys is down the rooms. Getting assessed for the Sydney Swans too, I'm told, is Cox. He has it again now. Allison breaks the Rose tackle, approaches 50. One-on-one contest. And the ball harmlessly eludes everybody. Freeman it was down there. He was attacking for Brisbane and the ball over the line. We'll have a throw in.
McInerney starting the second term really well. Smith in the ruck against Tippett. Tippett wins it down and it falls to friendly faces. O'Riordan, a high kick. 3 against 1 the way of the Lions. McInerney hands to it. Good stuff from the Swans though. Toby Pink receives the football. Yet again, it is Matt Eagles just roving, waiting for that loose football, that hurried kick out of defensive 50 from the Swans. I believe that's mark number 5 for Eagles, who was the captain in the preliminary final. He goes long. Players barely able to get off the ground. Jordan Footer's been good up against Clay Beams, but having that knack to win plenty of the ball himself. McInerney, his kick wasn't all that effective. Sam Murray running away from defensive 50. Took a bounce, then tucked it under the arm. Jordan Dawson looming inside forward 50. Again, Eagles with outstanding discipline and follows it up solidly. Hayward to Dawson for goal number 2. It's an open goal square, but it's offline and through for a minor score. Still, the Swans pepper those goals. It's 2-7-19 to the Lions 2-3-15.
Boy, there's some talent between those two boys, Hayward and Dawson. I love the way they linked up. I love the way Hayward just jinked in there through traffic. He is one of those players that has time, a Simon Black style time, which is like slow motion.
Promising players. Talking about promising players, there's one. Connor Ballenden. Is it to Clayton? Is it Josh Variety there? Freeman. Does he mark it? No. Allison tries to come through strongly, gets the handball up from the ground. Now to Corey Lyons. As a player further afield, it's McInerney. Just puts it. Dangerous spot. Buick's going to have to run at it. Couldn't take it. And then kicking around the corner. It's the captain, Clay Beams. That's the first for the second quarter. And Brisbane, they're back in front. A good build-up started by the lovely mark by Connor Ballenden. We're going to see him in the AFL next year. I'm just about sure, Pricey.
I've got no doubt that Connor Ballenden will be there, but have a look at this kick from McInerney. He put it into a dangerous spot Rowan Buick goes for the mark of the century with the one mitt. Doesn't happen. Beautifully rode front and centre. Clay Beams bangs it through for Brisbane. That is a skipper's goal. And Clay Beams, 10 touches and a goal already in a grand final to follow up from his magnificent performance last week where he was best on ground in the preliminary final. He had himself 36 disposals. So he's following on in that form here, and a dangerous one for the Sydney Swans to contain.
Well, neck and neck stuff between these two sides. That will come back. Favoured Oscar McInerney outside of the circles. 3.5 minutes played here in the second term. The Lions leading by 2. McInerney against Tippett. Both stay down. Falls for Josh Clayton, who sends it higher than it goes along. Laidler two-fists it out towards the wing. Gathered really nicely by the Lions. They're queuing up around forward 50. Allison goes to Ballenden. It was close, rather. Close at right half forward. Just sends it in towards the pocket. Freeman got a couple of bites at it. Loose football. Laidler in a bit of strife. Allison not up against the line, but Laidler did well just to get a hand to the ball and force it out.
Price, you can see that the Sydney Swans defence, they're a little bit worried about those talls. The extra numbers are coming back in the marking contest, which is leaving the Lions smalls at ground level.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more there as it is thrown in. And Robinson with the clearance. An important one for the Swans. It's off hands. A couple of Swans attacking the ball, but going without it. Leonardis, another good piece of work from Ruben William. 2 Swans go at it. Hayward, again with that space you were talking about, Michael. But again, Matt Eagles, mark number 6, he's been a beast for them.
Sure has. And he gets it out to close. He loves to cover a bit of territory for a big man. Gets it to the outer side. Half forward finds Keys. Keys just trying to measure one up. He had one coming out, and it was Ballenden, but just chiming in was Josh Clayton.
So once again, that unrewarded running from Michael Close down here. He didn't touch the ball in that last passage to goal, but he gets involved again. That's a good couple of 100-metre sprints in a row, and that's the kind of work rate that will get them success in this game.
So Josh Clayton, 10 goals for this year. He shoots it from 49. He brings it around, but to the near side. So on your minor, they stretch the lead to 3 points now as the Swans. They'll try and see what they can do from defence.
And the Lions have done a good job of congesting that passage out of defensive 50. And again, the Swans just have to hit and hope. And again, Matt Eagles is coming to get involved. He got a fist to the ball. Falls nicely for Hayward. Over the top for Leonardis. He has plenty of toe and works his way almost away from Eagles. And Eagles has put the forearm into Leonardis' head behind play. There was a little bit going on. Leonardis was happy to cop it and drop back and rejoin proceedings.
Oh, it's only a facial between boys on the grand final day.
That's it. What's an elbow in the throat between friends?
Not a day spar, it's a night spar.
Is Tippett takes it out of the ruck contest, gets them going forwards, but not with any great effect. Blake Brewer got it away. It falls for Liam Dawson. Hayward spins him around. Dawson got away from it. Now they're through the centre circles through Allison. Goes towards Keys, who's got goal side. If it bounces, the Swans are okay. Keys has it hard up against the boundary line. Corralled by Aaliyah. Goes back to Ballenden from 45. Ballenden on the right boot. And he misses to that side. Just the minor score.
We've got to refer back to the movie Cool Hand Luke, and a man has got to know his limitations. Connor Ballenden, the disciplined thing to do was to bang it into a dangerous spot at the top of the square, got ahead of himself a tad and just shanked it off his shin for a behind.
Loves a movie referenced as Michael Price. Brought the ball in as Dawson went up with one hand. And Florin, good handball. The Swans can come away. They'll come to this commentary side of the ground. There's Jordan Dawson again running on. He slips. Play on to call. Well done there by O'Sullivan. But coming through now is Fisher. He's wrapped up. And you just see that dew on the grass just disrupting not only the footing, but just the movement of the ball on both sides.
Not a lot of night matches in the NEAFL either, so interesting opportunity for all of these players to play after the AFL elimination final. But what an occasion under lights here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And there's an interesting move. Alex Johnson in the ruck. Florin has his kick stifled somewhat. Coming out there is Close. Play on was the call, and it's a good spotter kick there to Jansen. Looking in the corridor, now decides to go down the line instead. He was pushed as he kicked it, was looking for Freeman, couldn't do so. Talia. Now to Haywood, couldn't quite take it with him. The ball goes to the back. Here's Payne, just puts it on the boot quickly. Was off the side. Was it touched before it goes out of bounds? Yes, it was. So we're throwing right in front of the Sydney interchange bench.
There's a lot of chat about Connor Ballenden and being drafted as far as the Brisbane Lions go. You can see who in the Sydney Swans would love to jump up. But the young fellow in Jack Payne, the Noosa product, at 17, I reckon he's undervalued as far as his potential of being drafted.
Yeah, what a few weeks he's had in the NEAFL too. The right time of year for a 17/18-year-old to be producing that.
Boy from St Andrews on the Sunshine Coast, the same school that Jono Freeman went to.
Does he also do the Noosa beach curls?
Yes, he does. I'm sure he does. Right.
Here's Keys out of congestion. Jansen front position. Good tackle from Marsh. Dispossesses him. Florent, well handled by Maybon. Back to Florent. Freeman stuck the arms up in the air to not a huge amount of effect. And now through Talia they go to Haywood. The Swans are looking for the transfer of play. Robinson sends it out towards Fisher. Cox has done well. Can't take the mark. Sam Fisher battling against Cox. Fisher does well and runs towards forward 50. Fisher strokes it off the left. Edwards the target. Can't take the mark. Solid from the lines in defence. Rose palms one off. Left foot kick in towards the pocket. Leonardis can't get front position. Ruben Williams done well. Eagles puts a shot on. Gathers the ball. Shovels it out. Johnson sends it towards goal, but it's offline and through for a minor score. He's a bit of a recidivist in front of goal this year, Alex Johnson. He's missed a few.
Yeah, 1 goal 6 for the year, Will, and 5 knee reconstructions as well. So I'll blame it on that.
We'll give him those slight indiscretions early, I think.
So Hinge just sets it up, looking for Archie Smith, but coming there is Jono Freeman. Talking about the beach curls, he needed to do a couple of good ones there. Has Hanley free, has Brewer ahead of the play, open space. Takes a bounce, approaches 50 and wastes it. Yeah. To the near side, didn't do enough.
Well, didn't do enough and didn't look inside. Again, another wasted opportunity. Michael Close had run and got himself into a great spot, completely ignored him and turned the ball over. Swans looking good.
One of the things that was worth watching again would be Keon Hanley's hand pass. What a superb use of the ball from him.
His foot, can't bounce it, and then he puts it on exactly that, the foot. And there's a hold on Edwards, and it goes against the young man Payne. He's got the height, he's got the strength, the young man, but he doesn't have the experience of what Edwards brings, the former GWS.
And Essendon.
Yeah. Player.
He's got all the experience in the world of Sean Edwards. He's kicked 19 goals, 16 for the year. The Swans need this one. Not that it's desperate straits or anything, but they need this one just to give themselves a little bit of lift after so many forays inside 50.
Edwards will only shoot it from 35, and he makes no mistake. The healthy crowd here at the SCG like it because it does put the Sydney Swans back in front in this grand final 2017 here at the SCG by 2 points. Pricey, how'd you see that one?
Oh, look, it was just a free kick. There was a hold there, and an experienced player goes back and smacks it through, as he should do. I think the players emotionally have settled down a little bit now. They're starting to use the ball a little bit better. They're starting to stick their tackles on both sides of the fence. As I said before the game, I reckon this is going down to extra time. It'll be a point the difference. The way it is transpiring now, we could just as likely see that as well, can't you?
When the Swans in their history, Michael, a couple of nail-biting losses in grand finals. They're 0 from 3, and the biggest margin of those 3 occasions was 8 points against the Lions in 2013. So they know how to lose a close one, unfortunately, at this level. Here go the Lions. Lions got it from Ballenden, and now Lions gets it back. Ballenden involved again, sends it long. It's a one-on-one battle. Close. How close? Not close enough. It hits the deck. Here's Walker. Gets the hand pass away. It missed the mark. O'Sullivan. Here's Allison. Standing tackle from a couple. The Swans trying to bustle their way through. Marsh was involved. Now Jordan Dawson. Hand pass was errant. Brewer can't get much on it. It wasn't 15. Allison out of congestion. The immediate reply is just to behind. But the Lions did well, held their nerve under a bit of pressure. And now 3-7-25 to the Swans 3-8-26, a point the margin.
My kingdom for a left foot there, Kanga.
The kick-in is not a good one. Aliir could not find the target. And it is Blake Brewer who comes up with the ball. Just saw Ben Ronk come back onto the bench. He looked to be okay. So that's good news for the Sydney Swans, but not good news is this shot for them with Lion Blake Brewer. They'll have to kick it from 49 metres. Gives it a ride, and it's a good ride indeed. The boy from Redlands, former best and fairest NEAFL Team of the Year. He worked long and hard to get on an AFL list. The Brisbane Lions are the ones that took him, and on this occasion they prospered. Yep,
the little ginger just made himself a name in a grand final. Well done to Blake Brewer, the 24-year-old. Look, he's a good size. That's 14-14 for the year, so he's squared the ledger. But more importantly, for Brisbane, he's put them 5 points in front at a time where Sydney were starting to look like they were taking a little bit more of the ascendancy.
And one of these things also, something that I suppose we lose occasionally, is a lot of players on both of these sides are playing for their AFL careers.
Yeah, and that there would be a nice little settler for Blake Brewer. He's not been great by foot so far on a couple of occasions and missed out in the prelim due to restrictions on listed players. So good for him to find himself back here in the side. Jordan Foote wheeling around and going long into forward 50. Had a little bit too much on it for Edwards. Clayton, or Payne rather, was right there with him. So out towards the boundary line it goes. Sam Wicks, the academy player, one of two for the Swans. Haven't seen much of Osborne. Wicks has been fairly solidly involved. Jordan Foote battling hard. It is out of play. Sam Wicks, an interesting prospect, 17 years old, turns 18 next week, but missed out on selection in the Allies. So the Swans said, well, we'll happily have you working through our NEAFL side for much of the year, and he's really used that to develop his game and try and put his name in the frame come draft time. Jordan Dawson, good strength from him, wonderful persistence, sends it into forward 50, it'll bounce in front of a couple. Eagles again reading the play well, streams away from Johnson, who doesn't give up, wraps him up and wins a free kick for holding the ball. Outstanding stuff from a crowd favourite here at the Swans. And a little bit of carry on as Johnson goes to Dawson, could go over the top, but just holds it. He had Jared Osborne, not quite sure how that one unfolded. Might not have even been 15, but we will go that way. Dawson now has to play on. Strokes it into the attacking 50. How is a man free like that in the grand final? It is Sam Wicks.
They were all looking for the long bomb down towards the goal square, and they kept the 50-metre, the top of the 50-metre arc free, and a great goal, pass to find Wicks.
A chance for Wicks to repay a lot of the faith the Swans have shown in him, but he kicks it into the man on the mark. It might have been just at the edge of his distance. So the ball locked up inside that attacking corridor for the Swans. A couple of interesting moments there. The Lions have survived for now.
I think so, and a disappointing end there, but what a tackle from Alex Johnson to set up that opportunity for the Swans. That is trademark Bloods footy.
Jansen lays a tackle on foot. And then Laidler lays one on Josh Clayton. Ball's going nowhere, so the umpire will ball it up.
And market really has lifted a little bit. A couple of, on the edge shots after players have tackled their opponents, but certainly the bodies are flying in.
Tippett and McInerney. McInerney on the second bite. It's it off to Allison, just goes straight down the ground, long and high. Marsh is there with Close. Close wins it, but Aliir comes in. Makes a tackle, gets around Ballenden, then tries to spot up the kick, does it well to Foote. Gives it inside, back to Marsh, now back to Foote. Goes on his unfamiliar right, looking for Alex Johnson. Right there is Eagles. Pink, he's wrapped up by Cox. They come together. And we'll have a throw in as it spills over the boundary line.
Having a look at some of the stats there, Jacob Allison has got to the top of the leaderboard for Brisbane with 13. Ben Keys also with 13. Jordan Foote with 13 possessions. And Daniel Robinson for the Sydney Swans with 12.
Front spot there was Tippett, Leonardis, now to Marsh. Just gets it around the corner. Dangerous spot, but Cox is standing there, takes the mark. A saving mark in defence it is.
A great first season from Cedric Cox, and he has extended his deal. Great pressure out there from the Swans. Harry Marsh, the West Australian, goes short. And the mark is taken. Foote dishes it off from right on 50. Jordan Dawson, another long-range bomb. The South Australians' progression on the Swans list has been immense, and that is a big strike for them. And they regain the lead. The Swans by one mid-stages of this second term. A lovely, lovely goal, Jordan Dawson.
Have a look at it here. Foote gets the ball and has the presence of mind to go back outside 50. This kid can play and can unload a roost from 50 off 3 steps. Quality footballer, exciting future for Jordan Dawson coming up.
Beautiful part of Australia too, down the road. Southeast, down near Mount Gambier. Lovely beaches down there. A little bit cool occasionally, admittedly, but beautiful part of the world. I'm sure a few from Rove will be tuning in this evening as well. So the Swans back in front. Smith and Tippett. Tippett goes again, goes hard. The Lions have come away. It's Buick, gets the ball forward. Brewer, Laidler's right there, just stood in the contest, gets it to Marsh. They're going to try and come away, although Beams just interjects, plucks it, gets it back. There's Aaliyah, had front spot McInerney and Maybom. Maybom gets it, now Aaliyah, and they go out, and this time they'll find Murray. Murray not sure where to go, so he comes back over to the commentary side of the SCG. Laidler loads up on the left foot. Dangerous kick. It gets spoiled, but Rose is at the foot of it. They're going to come away with it again. They're just starting to get a little momentum. Ball now at half forward. Cox goes high. That was Hayward right there with him. Ronk, he's back on the ground. Chips it up, looking for a target. Hits the ground. Eagles just hits it out of midair. Cox coming through, picks it up wonderfully. And they'll come away here with Dawson, although his kick is tempered somewhat, and Robinson is the man that takes it.
That was great pressure from Ronk. Talia now loads up and sends it long. Kurt Tippett looms, and Kurt Tippett can't take the juggling mark, or can he? Eagles did just about everything he could, but Tippett was able to follow the ball. Great strength from the Adonis that is Kurt Tippett. And a chance to give the Swans just about their biggest lead of the game.
He's a huge unit, and Archie Smith 5 metres behind the contest, and Kurt Tippett floats in front, more or less unopposed. Archie Smith needs to tighten up on Kurt Tippett in that regard.
He just initiated contact, Tippett
just
at
lost
the right
him.
spot to actually get Archie Smith out of it.
Well, the former Adelaide Crow, now Sydney Swan. Kurt Tippett's kick looks okay, but just offline. He's had a couple of bags of goals in the NEAFL this season, but more important to them in the ruck. So a minor score from Kurt Tippett. Has to be said to be a very gettable spot from him. The Lions go long. Freeman can't get a big run at it. O'Riordan was at the front. Florent spun around by Cox. Cox rips the ball from Florent. Now it just squeezes out the back. The Lions can't get away with it. Play on's the call.
It's Josh Clayton. Somewhat fortuitously, Ballenden. He'll win the free kick as Aaliyah, I suppose, thought he was going to take the mark and then was just pulling him back. Ballenden could just about load up from there, decides to go for a pass, looking for a target. Beams went high, Jack at ground level. Keys bats it back towards William. They'll share the ball here. Hanley, clever by foot, back to Keys. Now to Ruben William, he's wrapped up as the Swans push back in numbers. And just coming away with it was Keys, goes high, it's coming back around, it's there! It looked like it was going to be a stalemate, that the Lions made something from nothing, and Ben Keys curled it back in like he was coming from the outside of the bowling lane to hit a strike.
Right into the pocket. That was a floating sack. And that just went through. But Ben Keys, what a fine game. He's had 14 disposals already. And that is one of the opportunities. You had Kurt Tippett from dead set in front of goal down the other end, missed the opportunity. Ben Keys pulls one from out the back door, and there's the big difference. Lions in front by 4 points.
4 goals 9, the Swans. The Lions 5-7. So they've been guilty of missing a couple of shots themselves, the Lions. The Swans have been a little bit better here in the second term in front of goal. 2-6 to quarter time. The minor premiers Swans. Here's Pink overrunning the ball. And Jack Payne just starfishes over the top. Rose trying to bustle out. Can't get away from Hinge. And it will be a ball up. James Rose, they've done a good job on him. Just the one behind. Kicked 6 last time they met. Has been in. Terrific touch.
Only the 3 disposals too, Will, which is a bit of a shock for a player of Rose's quality.
Yeah, and he's been so important for them around forward 50, but the Lions have kept them pretty honest. It's Archie Smith and Kurt Tippett. Tippett again wins it down. Edwards overran it. The Lions looking to try and wrestle back control. Hinge got a fist to it. Rose battling with him. Hinge still going. Great stuff from Mitch Hinge. Johnson got a hand pass out. Buick was smothered. So plenty of congestion, and Rose just across the middle of forward 50. It'll be a ball in. And the Lions leading by 4. A chance to add further congestion here. Kurt Tippett against Smith yet again.
And the hit-outs, well, it's basically level. 23 to Brisbane to 22 to Sydney Swans.
Tippett got it down the front, running onto it. Now is Hayward, goes with the outside of the right. Not there. And just punched away by Hinge. I think he was looking for a behind, but wouldn't have minded. It went out of bounds anyway, so not a bad result for the Swans.
You know, the Swans usually, the Lions usually play that expansive, plenty of disposals game. They're actually -9 against the Swans in disposals at the minute, which is unusual.
It is. Smith down to Hanley, couldn't take it cleanly. Allison swoops on it, gets a muffled kick away, beats close, and also Talia. In fact, ricochets and beats everybody over the boundary line in front of the scoreboard, which tells us that the Brisbane Lions hold sway by 4 points. Nearly 25 minutes gone in the second quarter. Enthralling contest, boys.
Well, the Swans have been inside 50, 30 to 26, so 4 more inside 50s, not quite as efficient as the Lions, but if they straighten that up, boy, it's going to be very handy for the Bloods.
Tippett got it down effectively to Robinson. To down. And Ruben William was happy to just punch the ball over the boundary line. Start all over again.
This is a pretty critical time, let's say 5 to 10 minutes before half-time. You've only got a handful of points the difference, and they haven't put the cue in the rack here, guys, but there seems to be a little bit of a lull, and we're back to that opening arm wrestle, just to make sure that nobody rips open the ascendancy.
Yeah, the Swans led by 4 at quarter time. It is currently the Lions by that margin. So the 8-point swing. Tippett, 2 hands it down, foot can't gather the ball. Jansen, good strength to get the hand pass away. Tippett left it for Hayward. And you can see the ferocity of the Lions, 3 of them involved in that tackle. That is what they need to be doing if they are to knock off the undoubted favourites in the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. The Lions, twice winners of this competition. The Swans, 0-3 in the decider. One of those was against the Lions by 8 points in 2013. The other 2 points against Aspley in 2014 and 4 points last year. We see some very interested onlookers. The Swans know that there are spots on the line in the AFL side. It is alive here, deep in attack for the minor premiers. Wicks got boot to ball. Tippett got a little bit of it. The Lions, Hanley tries to get boot to ball, just about does. Here's Buick again, ineffective kick. Toby Pink dragged to the turf by Eagles, didn't have the football, and it'll be a free kick just about directly in front for the Swans. There is a little bit of carry on.
There's plenty of carry on, actually.
Ruben William getting involved. He was under the pump time and time again in the opening term. But Toby Pink, 2 times he's hit the post. He does love a behind in a grand final. Kicked the winner in the under-18s in South Australia after the siren from 65 last year. That was a behind, but they'd love a goal from him here, Toby Pink. From just about point-blank range, Toby Pink puts the Swans back in front deep here in the second term. Good settler for him in front of goal, Toby Pink, and a good shot for the Swans.
He's got 6 disposals now, Pink, and we'll have a look at it here. The shot at goal, it's a fait accompli for a player of his talent. But Matt Eagles, in his, I suppose, efforts to provide plenty of defensive pressure, just a little bit over-exuberant, gave the free kick away. Swans in front again.
In Eagles' defence, if he had to do it at all, I think he had committed to that tackle and then realised he didn't have the ball. And as you say, Michael, just trying to lift the intent and show everybody it's his defensive 50, just gave it away.
Swans plus 14 in the disposal count too, Kanga, so they are possessing the ball when we thought that they'd prefer it to be in tighter.
So Jansen couldn't quite get the run of it. The Swans will win the free kick. A little bit high. Robinson now to Laidler on the left foot. Up long, Payne. Eagles came late to try and provide this ball. Ronk at ground level, swinging it around, but not enough. It stayed to the near side. And an opportunity to really extend the margin, and only did so by 1 point in the finish. Right in the throes of time on. The Lions bring it back in, Coventry side of the ground. Leonardis with the spoil, Lions. The handball out towards Clayton. And the ball goes out of bounds as the two 19s meet. And Edwards and Josh Clayton. So 60 metres from the goal. Lions, good kick. Front spot there was Cox. Now to Keys. Keys to open space. Ruben William on the far wing. He's got it on the bounce. What's going to present for him? It's Freeman there, but he decides to go shorter. And the run, the gut-busting run, came from Blake Brewer.
Yeah, the young Redland product who kicked that very good goal just a little while ago. I didn't think he was going to be the intended target. You had Jono Freeman there. I thought he was the one to go for, but Brewer actually made, I think, probably a reasonably average conveyance look very, very good. Takes a very good contested mark. And he can line up to put the Lions back in front. Again, this game, it is close, and it's going to go down to the wire.
And we're just pausing for a blood rule. Dan Robinson coming towards us here in the ladies' stand. Has blood, I think, coming from his right knee. So we'll wait for him to come off the field. An emergency umpire diligently fulfilling his duties, making sure that he comes off the field. The chaperone.
Always good for a young man lining up for goal too, to have an extra minute and a half just to soak that pressure up during a grand final. Kick the dirt around in front of you. Let's see what he does here. He's taking a lot of deep breaths, Blake Brewer.
He ran so hard to get on the end of that ball. He lines him up, 45-degree angle. He kicks from 40. It's decent off the boot. It's better than decent. That's 2 for Brewer. And the lead changes hands once again. It's been a seesawing contest so far in NEAFL 2017 Grand Final.
Yeah, Brewer, the 11 touches, and now with 2 goals, 1. He's had a very good game. You'll come in and see his kicking style, Kanga. He actually is a very clinical and clean drop of the ball. He kicks straight through it, no namby-pamby about it. Well done to Blake Brewer.
And if it's one criticism, it's probably his field kicking in the general play that probably just doesn't measure it well enough at this point in time there. But we saw on that occasion, good technique, good ball drop, good result.
Just having a look, who have we got down there on the boundary line, copping a fair bit of work at the moment for the Brisbane Lions, and he looks in a little bit of distress.
Jacob Allison, I think.
Yep. Just looks like the inner groin of the left leg.
So late here in the second term, McInerney's kick was smothered. Fisher runs into his own man. Now goes out towards space at right half forward. Hayward's running onto it, but coming out of defensive 50 was Michael Close. Looked like a throw. Play on's the call. We'll have a ball in after we get everybody off each other.
You see that centre bounce here. They saw the pink was in the ruck, and McInerney tried to take it out of the ruck, and it was only the smother of the smalls of the Swans that actually stopped it going Brisbane's way.
Right half forward for the Swans. Pink still in the ruck. McInerney has his way with him, but the Swans read it well. Fisher sends it inside, attacking 50. Close does well. Goes back with the flight of the ball and now has 3 to choose from. He'll just put it in the middle of all of them. And here's Hinge. Puts it into the path of Josh Clayton, 3 against 1. Clayton is in all sorts of trouble. Maybe ridden into the turf. Maybe a ball up. He was lucky there. Wasn't the best work from Hinge to set him up like that. The Swans did what they needed to.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Will. Ordinary handball. Could have been holding the ball right there.
So Smith relieves McInerney. Smith wins the tap. Fisher again. He's dialed in to the Brisbane rucks and sees it out of play.
I don't want to harp on it, but just watch this throw in here. Just the way Archie Smith is almost manhandling and toying with Pink.
Certainly not his preferred position, Toby. Pink out of midair from Florent, gets them inside, attacking 50. Close though yet again, reads it solidly. Hurried kick, it'll work out okay. Jansen sliding, takes them up.
It's been very good so far, I think. Jansen provided excellent pressure around the contest. It's the same size as Jordan Dawson. Of course, Dawson's got a couple of goals to his name on the top of Freeman's head. Marsh gets it around the corner. Pink and Rose, 2 colours. They sort it out, and it's the Rose that wins at least the contest. He got it to Jack, and then the halftime siren sounds. And it is the Brisbane Lions, the underdogs for NEAFL 2017 Grand Final. The 2 hold sway, 6 goals 7, playing 5 goals 10, 3 points the difference. The Swans have had more shots, but the Lions have the lead.
Yeah, very interesting opening half. In the second term, probably the polar opposite to that opening term in terms of both sides being a little bit more clinical. The aggression lifted, the intensity was there as well. And as you said earlier, Pricey, both sides just seemed to settle. They had a chance to chat with their coaches and teammates and line coaches at quarter time, and had a little bit more, or with a little bit more resolve, just to work their way into things.
They are clearly the top 2 sides in the NEAFL competition for this year. I think the coaches and the line coaches, as you said, would have just reaffirmed that with them. You're here because you are in the top 2. Now, there's a split hair between them at the moment. If we have a look at it stats-wise, Sydney are 11 plus in the disposals. That was unusual. We thought that would go Brisbane's way because they play an expansive game, whereas the Bloods are a little bit more in tight. So they're getting a bit more of the ball. Marks 35 to 29 in favour of Brisbane. So Brisbane are still employing that long kicking game and using it. The rest of the stats are basically split down the middle. Hit-outs 29 to 27. Your tackles slightly favouring Brisbane 37 to 32. The inside 50s, though, I'll repeat that, 35 to 27 to the Sydney Swans. Now, they should be further in front with their opportunities, but again, the Brisbane Lions defence have stifled them in certain areas as well. This is a very exciting game, and it's going to go down to the wire. I've been saying it all through the first half, especially as we saw that second quarter amplify. Just wait until the second half and see what happens there.
And rest assured, both of these 2 sides have a couple of gears still to click into, so we should be set for a beauty of a second half. It's not far away. Stay with us here on NEAFL TV as we take a look at some of the many highlights that were season 2017.
Southport midfielder Jordan Kerris rose to elite status in 2017 as he wrote his name alongside the competition's greats. The 23-year-old on ball upheld MVP votes in 16 of his 18 games. He finished with an incredible average of 35 disposals and 10 clearances per match, the highest averages on record for a player featured in more than half the season. A NEAFL representative against Tasmania, Kerris led the competition in champion data ranking points on his way towards becoming the Northern States' most valuable player.
Number 5, Redland Bombers, Brad Howard, round 14.
Contest happening, well done by Pantic retrieve the ball, handball back into Moffa. Moffa long down the outer side. And Howard! Oh, Howie! Oh, the high-flying Howard chips in board. Redland back in attack.
Number 4, Sydney University, James Lonergan, round 7.
For Southport, rather. Kicks back in field. Taken high! An absolute cracker of a mark.
Number 3, Brisbane Lions, Josh Walker, round 13.
Giants have the numbers. Another hacked ball. It's a sky ball to the wing. And Josh Walker, UT, takes a ripper. The former Cat.
Number 2, Canberra Demons, Jack Baker, round 7.
Trying to clog the space. The Swans just decide to go long. A huge pack of players, and Baker flies. You heard the call they were calling for Jack Baker, and he did just that. What a fly from Baker.
And our winner, from the Redland Bombers, Clay Cameron, round 6.
And what about the leap and mark? That is a NEAFL mark, probably of the year, Clay Cameron.
Number 5, Aspley Hornets, Tom Rudolph, round 1.
On the ground, hard-running Territory Thunder there in defence. Some work done by Sam Smith. Ball forced towards the boundary line and picked up by Aspley along the boundary line. Somehow kicked a goal along the boundary line. Fantastic effort.
Wow, let's see the replay of this, Charlie. He was nearer behind the fence there,
Might
Thomas
have been
Rudolph.
Number 4, Redland Bombers, Hayden Batoli-Simmons, round 6.
Easily on that occasion. Batoli Simmons gets the clearance yet again, keeps the ball, skirts the boundary line, kicks for goal, and that is an NEAFL goal of the day!
What a team lifter from the skipper. He's been magnificent all day. He took them on. Everyone stood back and sort of watched a bit, and he said, I'm going to stamp my authority on this contest.
Number 3, Southport Sharks, Rob Clements, round 5.
Side forward 50. Running at it with Shepherd, Gross with the spoil, did well. Now Clements goes around the corner, rolls it, rolls! This is a NEAFL goal of the day. What an effort by Rob Clements. That's 3 for him. And an absolute ripper.
Number 2, Gold Coast Suns, Trent McKenzie, round 3.
In the middle, Nichols versus Jackson. Nichols wins out, gets his own ball. Lonergan, handball now. Here's the weapon. McKenzie lets it go. Archie at the back can shepherd it. Oh my goodness! The cannon and his left foot. Have a go at that. He's kicked it from 75.
And our winner, from the Aspley Hornets, Oscar Baker, round 14.
Has his kick smothered, decides to go off the ground. Up high was Baker, and quickly he plays on, gets the block, takes a bounce, gets around one. That's 2 bounces, he's got another block. That's 3, 4, approaches 50! Goal! Oscar Baker, take a bow, young man. The game isn't really within reach, but Oscar Baker, he sets himself apart, the Ginger Ninja.
Darren Ewing's reputation as the NEAFL's greatest ever goal kicker was further etched in stone in 2017 as the NT Thunder forward claimed an unprecedented 5th leading goal kicker trophy. The 30-year-old continued to break records this year, bringing up his 700th club goal in the same day he booted a season-high 10 majors against Canberra.
And they know it. Don't they just? They know that's number 9 for the day.
Ewing averaged 3.5 goals per match in 2017 at a career-high accuracy of 77%, proving he's still at the top of his game.
Ewing takes the mark. How did he take that mark at centre-half forward? Drills away to goal and kicks the goal. Only Darren Ewing.
Southport midfielder Jordan Kerris rose to elite status in 2017 as he wrote his name alongside the competition's greats. The 23-year-old on baller polled MVP votes in 16 of his 18 games. He finished with an incredible average of 35 disposals and 10 clearances per match, the highest averages on record for a player featured in more than half the season. A NEAFL representative against Tasmania, Kerris led the competition in champion data ranking points on his way towards becoming the Northern States' most valuable player.
Darren Ewing's reputation as the NEAFL's greatest ever goal kicker was further etched in stone in 2017 as the NT Thunder forward claimed an unprecedented 5th leading goal kicker trophy. The 30-year-old continued to break records this year, bringing up his 700th club goal in the same day he booted a season-high 10 majors against Canberra.
Forward.
And they know it.
Don't they just? They know that's number 9 for the day.
Ewing averaged 3.5 goals per match in 2017 at a career-high accuracy of 77%, proving he is still at the top of his game.
Ewing takes the mark. How did he take that mark at centre-half forward? Drills the way to goal and kicks the goal. Only Darren Ewing.
Number 5, Redland Bombers, Brad Howard, round 14.
Contest happening, well done by Pantic, retrieved the ball, handball back into Moffa, Moffa long down the outer side, and Howard, oh Howie, the high-flying Howard chips in board, Redland back in attack.
Number 4, Sydney University, James Lonergan, round 7.
For Southport rather, kicks back in field, taken high! An absolute cracker of a mark.
Number 3, Brisbane Lions, Josh Walker, round 13.
Giants have the numbers. Another hacked ball, it's a sky ball to the wing. And Josh Walker, you team, takes a ripper. The former Cat.
Number 2, Canberra Demons, Jack Baker, round 7.
Trying to clog the space. The Swans just decide to go long. A huge pack of players, and Baker flies. You heard the call, they were calling for Jack Baker, and he did just that. What a fly from Baker.
And our winner, from the Redland Bombers, Clay Cameron, round 6.
And what about the leap and mark? That is a NEAFL mark, probably of the year, Clay Cameron.
Number 5, Aspley Hornets.
Great to have your company here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, this famous sporting venue. It is the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. Half-time, the Lions lead 6 goals, 7-43 to the Swans, 5-10-40. Really lifted in that second term after a scrappy arm wrestle in the opening quarter as both sides sort of found their feet and found their way into this 2017 decider. It is the minor premiers Swans, only lost 2 games all year. Both of those were against the Lions though, and the Lions who finished second on the ladder. The Swans led by 4 at quarter time. It has been swung around to the Lions by 3 at the main break. My name's Will Davies, joined in commentary by Mark Kennedy and Michael Price. Gents, it was an entertaining second term, but after what we've seen in the first 2 stanzas, how do you see both sides and where they're sitting?
Well, it's all but even at the moment. The Sydney Swans have the ascendancy in the inside 50s, 35-27. As we discussed just prior to seeing all those wonderful highlights of NEAFL season 2017, we noted that most of the stats are split down the middle. It's when the ball gets into the forward 50 for the Brisbane Lions, it's the Sydney Swans defence that seem to be a bit more panicky about the talls, bringing the small players into the game a bit more with all of that attention being taken onto the talls. Do you see that is where the Swans are the most vulnerable?
Yeah, I do. And we haven't seen too many of the Brisbane Lions talls actually cling on to them yet. And that's probably testament to the Swans' defence in one way. But we've seen some of their smalls. Clay Beams has kicked a goal. Blake Grew has been able to gut run and get on the end of a couple as well. And even young O'Sullivan has been able to get there as well. So, you know, it's where they look dangerous, Brisbane. But conversely, for the Sydney Swans, it's their mids coming through. The Jordan Dawsons and these types coming through there that do look dangerous when they get moving there, that they look like the ones that can kick a score for the Sydney Swans. Not so much their tall forwards or their marking forwards that are really dangerous at the moment. Yeah,
Jordan Foote absolutely nailing it in the midfield for the Sydney Swans. 16 disposals. He's had the 4 clearances as well. 5 inside 50. So that bears what you're saying too, Kanga. He gets the ball not only in the middle of the ground, but he propels it inside 50 and really makes it dangerous. Of course, Daniel Robinson, 15 disposals as well. He's got 6 clearances, so they're leading the charge in the middle of the ground. The ruck contest is interesting. Tippett with the 7 disposals, 27 hit-outs. He's up against the combination of Archie Smith and Oscar McInerney. Archie Smith has only had 1 touch to go with his 19 hit-outs. McInerney usually dominant in the air. He's 204 centimetres and 102 kilos. He hasn't taken a mark tonight, and that is again due to the great pressure of the Sydney Swans defence, but he is bringing the ball to ground and bringing in those small players in. Look, it's a toss of the coin at the minute. I'm seeing if Sydney take their chances, 5 goals, 10, 15 scoring shots to 13, yet they're trailing by 3 points. I think they should be in front. They should be in front by at least a goal or 2, but as I say, the game's going to go to extra time.
Well, pushing back there to McInerney, I think, look, he's been very competitive around the ground. He's done a lot of hard work. He just probably hasn't been able to finish it off and do what he does best, which is, as a tall man, actually get your hands and clunk it in the air. I think at various times they provided more of a contest against Kurt Tippett in the second quarter. And I think they actually probably had the better of it in terms of the ruck hit-outs per se with any effectiveness. But it's the Sydney midfielders that tend to clear it a little bit better, get a little bit more quality ball going their way. Yeah,
in the first quarter, Brisbane had got on top of Sydney in the clearances. At half-time, it's 23 apiece, even though Sydney are dominating Brisbane are leading the hit-outs by a couple there. The only thing that Sydney are dominating, of course, as I say, is the inside 50s. Take your chances, Sydney Swans, and you will be in front of the game.
Yeah, and it's interestingly placed, I feel, in terms of that taking your chances. Either of those two sides a little bit more clinical under, of course, extreme pressure in the grand final, and that lead could have been 2 or 3 goals to either of them, because both were a little bit gun-shy on a couple of occasions and really didn't waste a few shots on goal.
Well, who's going to be the match winner? Because one side's going to have to really step up here to take the game by the scruff of the neck. I guess what I'm interested in, who is those core players from either side that can see themselves? It's a bit like the Michael Jordan of basketball. Always loved to take the last shot, wanted the ball in his hand to be the person that takes the responsibility. Who's going to be for each side?
Well, for the Brisbane Lions, their 5 goals, I should say their 6 goals, 5 of them come from small forwards, 1 of them from a big man. For the Sydney Swans, you've got a big mixture of the midfielders in Jordan Dawson with a couple. Toby Pink, who I think should get more involved in the game. The kid is a superstar. Same with James Rose. James Rose has only had the 5 touches and the 1 behind.
They've done a good job on him.
He's somebody who can crack a game open, and we saw how well he did it in the last home and away game that Brisbane and Sydney played, where he kicked 6 or 7. Had an absolute cracker of a game. So, look, I'm looking forward to those players taking the step up and seeing how either side handles it.
And in towards the middle on a beautiful evening here in Sydney. Starting to cool down, but it's been glorious weather right throughout the winter. There in the middle are a few potential match winners. Jordan Foote there. Jared Jansen's been pretty good. Clay Beams has been held relatively quiet. As we see some of the famous faces in the crowd. It is a healthy crowd here at the SCG. All of those fans have been marshalled here on our broadcast side to get us underway in the second half of the 2017 NEAFL Grand Final. The Lions leading by 3. It is Mark Kanga Kennedy.
So McInerney and Tippett will resume their battle. We're underway. Tippett just protects the ball drop and gets it away. Jansen and Lyons for Brisbane are there. Jansen, quick kick. McInerney gets the first meaningful kick in the second half. Ballenden works his way to the front. Couldn't get near it. He's at ground level now, though. Slips over in the conditions. It's a bad slip. O'Riordan kicks it up. Close is under it. Aliir, he's down. He looks hurt. Buick's back on the contest. The ball just slips out of bounds. And he looks like, in fact, it went out of bounds from Robinson. And Aliir, looks like he's got a very painful left hip.
Yeah, that was a huge marking contest as the ball goes to a dangerous spot, Kanga.
And Ballenden, the young man, unassuming in the sense that the Swans defenders probably didn't pay as much attention to him as probably the more high-profile Lions players, but the young man who's a giant of a kid, shouldn't call him a kid, a young man, takes a good contested mark.
Well, this is what the Brisbane Lions fans were calling for, the Talls to get more involved and start clunking those marks.
So he's already kicked one. He's going to go with the check side, and he makes no mistake. He kicked the second goal of the game for the Brisbane Lions, and he kicks the first goal of the second half for the Lions. So the Lions, they extend to 9, and they put a little bit of a gap in the Swans for the first time this evening.
Yeah, Connor Ballenden, we've talked about his draft prospects, and just having a look at the way he finished off that goal. A lot of class, well done. Just hooked it around, and he's looking forward to hopefully an AFL future. Just keeping an eye on Aliir, who was affected in that contest. It was a crunching contest, and he's still a little bit ginger in the background, so we'll keep an eye on him. He's still got a lot of work to do up back for the Sydney Swans.
He's staying out there, though. The trainer's trotting towards the interchange gates. We are ready to go again in this NEAFL decider for 2017. Kurt Tippett over the top. Keys with another good clearance. He lifted in that second term. Close can't take the mark. Solid work by Harry Marsh. Here's Greer weaving and breaking the lines. Ben Keys coming forwards. No one's home for the Swans. But Aliir gets back, running off that cork or the contact, and very importantly so. It was a decent piece of work from Ben Keys.
Up to 18 disposals now, Ben Keys, along with his goal. 5 clearances as well.
Double digits now, the lead. Aliir looks for Tippett, couldn't take it. McInerney affected the spoil, then affects, well, I was going to say almost affects a tackle. Ball in dispute. Cox and Talia there. O'Riordan gets a sneaky little handball out to Robinson. He's upended as he kicks it. Eagles, he's spoiled there by Ronk. Now to Florence. They come away. Tippett, Jordan Dawson, through the middle of the ground. Edwards, they wanted the ball to the back, but it came to the front. It was Payne that took the mark for the Lions, gets it out to Cox at half back out of side.
A good kick from Payne. Cox with a decent disposal too. Keys got it from Jansen. They're moving it well here, the Lions. Blake Greer, an untimely slip. Greer now just wheels around, kicks into the man on the mark. To the Lions. In a bit of strife here, Aliir wraps the legs around his subject. And it is Connor Ballenden who will have a ball up.
Yeah, we're held to him, not a problem there. Just looking at the Brisbane Lions storming through the corridor, we'll see the tackle from Aliir. He really stuck that, got the arms around, pinned the ball into the young man in Ballenden. Here's a go for the Lions as Buick lines up.
Yeah, it's across the face and only a minor score, but some tidy work from the stoppage.
What I was going to say there about Ballenden before, he was actually happy to take the tackle. That was good maturity to actually hold on to the ball and know it was going to be a ball up.
So the Swans in the defensive corridor. The kick is okay. Brandon Jack had to work really hard. Allison's running with him. Sam Murray back for Brandon Jack. Goes to the safety of Aliir in the back pocket. Aliir takes off with nobody standing the mark through. The guts, he goes to Sam Fisher. Left foot kick up towards Dawson. Takes the mark in front of Eagles. Dawson gets up and Eagles did well. Got himself onto the mark. Dawson long towards Toby Pink Jansen. Disciplined over the top and punches it out of play. Solid work there from Jansen, but again we see that ball movement from the Swans. Just a little bit of push and shove.
12 disposals, 6 tackles from Jansen as you see this superb defensive effort. Toby Pink is a dangerous footballer, and to get the ball away from him is the prize.
Well, it's good work there by Jansen as a midfielder to push back and help out his defenders there. Well done, Jared Jansen. Ball back into play. Tippett did it easily in the ruck against McInerney on that occasion. A little bit of experience and strength. Jansen and Keys combined. Get the ball out of defensive 50. Freeman. Right there also is Talia. Ball just ricochets. Now Aliir backs back and now gives the ball away. They can just set up from back here. Murray. Chain of handballs ends up with Robinson. The chipping ball finds Foot. It finds Foot's arms at least. Goes short. Leading ball. Hits the deck. Tippett wrapped up by William. Got a little cheeky kick away. Brewer couldn't take it cleanly. Foot now. Jack. O'Riordan. He can line up. Swings it around. Rose is there. And pushing back is Hinge and also Dawson. And the ball bounces through for a behind.
Another wasted opportunity there for Sydney, and they won't get these all night, so they must take them when they get them.
It drops over the back. Ben Keys. Purple patch from him. Goes back to Cedric Cox. Halls Creek in Western Australia. The Lions just thump it long, close, stayed down. Here's Jansen. Over the top they go. Clayton just works it round, was looking for Keys. Clayton now into the middle. Buick. It's a good kick, and Buick did well. Falls to ground. The numbers are with the Swans here. It's a great tackle from Foot. Just squeezes out for Marsh. Dawson over the top. Robertson can't get an effective disposal. That'll be a free kick for a throw. Campbell Walker has it centre wing. Walker looking for his options and directing traffic. Loads up and goes long. McInerney can't get a run at it. Aliir flies. Couldn't take the mark. Ballenden can't get a disposal away. Clever off the deck from O'Sullivan. Keys runs into an open goal and the Lions lead by 16. Outstanding work from the academy players and the listed players all at the same time.
Would love to see that. Campbell Walker, the pressure from the young man. Now here it bounces through and you can see it's towed forward into the arms of Ben Keys, who runs in for his second goal. 22 disposals to go with it. I thought that tackle there, I thought there was an opportunity for the Sydney Swans there to get a free kick in the middle of all of that situation, but with the, I think it was an illegal disposal from Brisbane in the clinches. But boy, they've really knocked it open, Brisbane now. 16 points, the largest lead of the game.
What about the run of Ben Keys? He was involved in the back half of the ground and then worked forward and really got involved and was rewarded with the goal. Underway again. Tippett couldn't get an effective disposal away. Dragged off the ball or flung off the ball there was Buick, and it's a throw. It'll go Sydney's way. Advantage paid. They go inside forward 50. A clean inside forward 50 entry ends up with Toby Pink. I think the kick came, would have been from Sam Murray.
So 23 goals for the year from Toby Pink. He really needs to stamp some authority on this game for the Sydney Swans to get home.
45-degree angle. Shoots it for 42 metres. Distance is not a problem and neither is accuracy. The Swans hit back. The margin back to 10.
So that's taking your chances, and a player like Toby Pink with his second goal now, really, that just emphasises it. Again, we're having a look at the kicking style of these guys. As they're coming in from 50, just relaxed. Good ball drop, kick straight through it, well done, back to within 10 points.
Big goal for the Swans. You see some of the Bloods faithful sticking around. Their AFL side had a big win in the elimination final against Essendon. The NEAFL side staying within touch here of the Lions. Reece Shaw, what a career he's having in charge of this NEAFL side. Minor premiers last year and minor premiers this year, but he'd love to not suffer the same fate as 2016, losing that grand final. Toby Pink giving Kurt Tippett a rest. Tippett with all 27 of the Swans hitouts in the opening half. Here's Jansen. Florent maybe slipped a little bit high. Still battling at ground level both sides. Head pass comes out, foot goes to Sam Murray. Left foot kick up towards Rose. Has been quiet, the pressure's been good. It drops over the back, Payne. He's worked off it by Dawson. Tippett's there inside forward 50. The Swans would love another goal. Dawson gathers, tries to bust through inside the pocket. The Lions are aware of the danger. Is that a free kick?
Yeah, high tackle.
It is a free kick and it's going the Lions' way.
It's going to Hinge.
You just see it on replay here, guys. As Hinge gets involved, it was just a high tackle there.
Little spearing pass finds Cedric Cox. Cox just sits it up, looking for the run. And a good lead coming from Ballenden. So getting involved, the young big. Just kicks it down the line to Josh Clayton. Distinguishable by the headband this evening. Goes to half forward. Numbers. It was close, and also Archie Smith there. The Swans' defence were good enough to spoil the ball away. It was Toby Pink tackled by Lions.
Archie Smith was still only the one disposal. No marks for the evening. He does have 20 hit-outs, though.
He's there to do exactly that. That's another hit-out for him. Lions applies the tackle. Good chain of handballs, gets them out of trouble. Murray firing the ball. Dangerous handball. Ballenden couldn't take it with him. Beams just towed it through for himself, tapped it into the path of Brewer. He kicked it off the ground. That's 3 for Brewer. There was a little bit of consternation in the goal square while they worked out what it was. I had the binoculars on it. I was fairly confident. And Brewer gets his third, extends the margin back.
And Beams couldn't pick it up here. You're dead right, Kanga. Brewer just got his hand up. The Swans player desperately holding his hand up, saying, I did get a hand to it, like Stephen Silvani in the 1993 grand final, when Michael Long kicked it over his head. But it's just a beautiful, and you can see it happening here. Diving effort, well done by the Swans defence, but Brewer just a little bit of toe in front of him.
Yeah, good work from Sam Murray nonetheless.
Beautiful moonlit night here at the SCG.
Lovely conditions and beautifully captured. Tonight going down in history, the Lions back out to that 16-point lead. Trailed by 4 at quarter time, led by 3 at half time. They've beaten the Swans twice this season. The only 2 losses the Swans have suffered so far. The Lions looking really good. Allison steaming towards forward 50, sends it deep towards McInerney. Again, Maybaum right there with him. And it hits the deck and trickles out of play. There are calls for deliberate from the Lions. It's ambitious.
You see they've changed the ruck set up, the Sydney Swans, with Aaliyah going into the ruck now. So that's a pretty prominent move, I think. They want to get a bit of a change, a bit more competition when Kurt Tippett's not in there.
Yeah, good call. I feel Aaliyah offers so much athleticism. Dawson at a defensive 50, but only as far as Archie Smith. So possession number 2 coming for Smith. Sends it long. McInerney, the intended target. Aaliyah reads it well, gathers. Chain of hand passes from the Swans. They're in a bit of strife. Beams met by a few. Scoops it out to McInerney. Jordan Foot strong. Works his way away from one and just goes long towards Hayward with a big mark. Well read by the young man and terrific mitts.
Yeah, 20 touches now for Jordan Foot, and what an exit from defence, and a great mark by Hayward, but they've turned it over again.
The Lions come away. This is Brewer, just hoists it high, looking for a target. Freeman had his name written all over it. He's got one wide in the corridor, and he gets there. It was good vision and a good conveyance of the football to find Jacob Allison, who was very good in the first half.
Have a look at this kick, Kanga. He did have to dive for it, but what a beautiful kick from Jono Freeman to just not look straight down the line, to have a look inside 50 and just hit his man 30 metres out directly in front. Good footy.
So the margin is 16 points in favour of the Brisbane Lions. This can put it into dangerous territory for the Sydney Swans. Line comes in, straight in front, no mistake. We have a serious challenge to the favourites now on hand. The Sydney Swans, the ladder leaders for 2017. They need to step up.
Jacob Allison there, superb kicking display. And this is the position we were talking about, Will. I agree with the move of Aaliyah into the ruck because they were getting belted whenever Tippett's not in there. But they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But as soon as these talls start getting involved, they've got to have somebody down there to assist. I don't know what the Sydney Swans can do. And have a looking at their coaching staff on the sideline as well. They're having a bit of a conference about it as well. So, look, it's only 22 points at this stage, but halfway through the third term, another goal to Brisbane here could really do some damage to the Swannies.
And after the lead changed 10 times in the opening half, the Lions starting to wrest control of this grand final. Tippett getting involved. Jansen, good strength, gets it out. Wonderful hand pass from Allison back to Hanley, and now it's with Clayton. Josh Clayton, centre wing, far side of the Sydney Cricket Ground. Good awareness from Jordan Dawson, an understanding of the situation. He thwarts another forward 50 entry. Now goes with that trusty left boot. Down the line, Josh Clayton getting involved, and now Eagles bangs it long. It's fallen for Keys, the man of the moment, Ben Keys, wheels around. Is it touched? It's fallen for Walker. Gets it outside. So here's Allison again. Cuts inside. Right foot kick, but there was a whistle, and it's going the Lions' way for a hold in the goal square.
Yeah, there was Michael Talia had a hold of John O'Freeman in the goal square. Just a bit of a grab of the jumper and just put the pressure on him.
Advantage paid there. Allison kicked the goal. So it would have been a goal either way. And you'll see it here. Allison, the free kick's paid. He straightens up and he kicks the goal anyway.
Regardless, it was a floater, but they were going to get the free kick. So that is now dangerous for the Sydney Swans. We're talking a 28-point margin. And the Lions, well, we talked about the fact that Sydney, the only stat that they were really monstering the Lions in were the inside 50s. There's one the difference now. The Lions have made up that disparity now. And, of course, they're hitting the scoreboard with their inside 50. So they're converting, and this is what the Swans need to do.
The Brisbane Lions make their move. They call this the premiership quarter. Is this going to be the difference in the game? Smith went high, over the top of Tippett, then got it down. It ricochets back. Tippett gets it back. Robinson goes inside forward 50. Ruben Williams in front, stands tall, takes a good defensive mark. Yep. The Swans need more from their forwards at the moment just to get some easy goals as they take it into their forward 50 as Clayton has the ball on the outer side, half back.
I still think that their delivery inside 50, Kang, is making it hard for their forwards to perform. Ruben Williams was advantaged by that last kick.
The ball at ground level. Oscar McInerney, he fell over, ended up in the next postcode. He's so tall. Ball stuck underneath, they'll throw it up.
Have a look at the contest. Very slippery, still underfoot on the outer side there, and a little bit of how do you do on the ground afterwards.
Well, now is a very important time for the Swans, trailing by 28 mid-stages of the third term. Robinson got a free kick and then played on, kicked it straight into the back of a Lion. They're away here, Brisbane. Jansen with time for a bounce and a second. They're running in support, but he turns it right over. Gave it to Laidler, who goes to Dawson, so that's a massive error from the Lions. A goal there would have really hurt the Swans, and here they are on the counter. Dawson up towards his man. Couldn't see who it was because there was a line all over him. It was Toby Pink with Liam Dawson acting as a jacket for Toby Pink.
I'll tell you what, if Jared Jansen's handball hit the target, they were right away.
They were right away. Jared Jansen now up to 15 disposals, 6 tackles. He's handing it away.
Now's the time for Reece Shaw's men to get themselves right back into things. Kurt Tippett just disposes of Archie Smith. The Swans through Dawson, loads up and sends it towards the goals. A massive strike from Jordan Dawson. That is goal number 3, and as timely as they come in this 2017 NEAFL Grand Final.
This kid just grows. Every time you see Jordan Dawson play footy, the guy from Sturt, averaged 28.5 disposals throughout 2017. He had 22 last week, and have a look at this. Just gets it from 45, mind you, off 1.5 steps. That is class, a class finish from Jordan Dawson.
He's got great power and really good balance, Dawson, but geez, that's an important goal for him. Puts him right back in touch. He is developing beautifully, Jordan Dawson, really starting to knock on that door at AFL level.
He's a ripping midfield goal kicker, and they are very important. That's 37 goals for the season for him.
AFL side screaming out for goal kickers, forward goal kickers like himself.
They win the clearance, Brisbane. Jansen, Allison, Hanley under pressure. They're going that way. Leonardis, he wraps it up, goes quickly. They're just trying to move it quickly. Now Brandon Jack, one-on-one contest. Aaliyah has front spot. It bounces over the top of him though. Eagles gets back. Just spins out of trouble. On the left, look very awkward. That's going to be just about it is. Out of bounds on the full. So a bad mistake by the Lions. Eagles probably had that little bit more time to straighten up.
Just a little bit more time. Beautiful quick movement from the Swans, though. Give them another chance with Edwards.
That was Hayward that found Edwards. So another goal potentially beckons.
It's the quick answers that the Swans need. They need to take advantage. This is a very difficult shot here for Shaun Edwards, but a player of his class should be able to do something with it.
On the boundary line goes a goal. It looks pretty good off the boot, slides across the face and ushered through for a point off hands. So the margin back to 21. With just a whistle here. So we've just got a blood rule. Coming off the ground here is Jeremy Laidler.
Pause for Laidler. He's been all right without being dominant. They've enjoyed his services, rebounding and mopping things up across defensive 50. They'll need that through the journey here as they chase this grand final. It's not a great kick out of the goal square from Cox, but it works out okay. Lions has it and goes short to Josh Clayton. Again, they're making their man work.
Just having a look at Jeremy Laidler as well. Throughout the season, he averaged 22 disposals at an efficiency of around about 81%, which is extraordinary. He's only had the 5 or 6 touches tonight, so very quiet.
Yeah, a lot of the players that he's been matching up on haven't quite been of the calibre, I'd say, of McInerney and also Jono Freeman. So maybe forced to be a little bit more disciplined as we see McInerney move it forwards after clunking an impressive mark. Josh Clayton hurriedly sends it long. There's no one home for the Lions. The Swans make a meal of it, though. They needed to talk. Ballandon's up against a few now, though. Really disciplined stuff for the Swans. It was Brandon Jack coming in from the side. That was important and a potential goal saver for the Swans.
Great tackle from Brandon Jack there, saved it. You can see it here. Ballandon did well for a big man, just controlled it, but Brandon Jack just grabbed him around the waist and dragged him down. Good tackle.
Tippett palmed it down straight to a Lions player, though.
No, it's
Florent had to take the tackle.
I know it's been said a lot, but you know, tackling in the Jack household, it's sort of like you need to do it. It's a family thing.
McInerney got it down. Josh Clayton. Contest there. Bring it down with Keys. Murray feigns a handball. Cleverly puts it out to Ronke. Just put the one arm up. Couldn't take it. Now picks it up. Dangerous kick. Rose is up to it though. He blooms at the right time on that occasion. They're away. Florent through the middle of the ground. Dawson on hands and knees. Unable to handle the ball there. Now Dawson says, give it back to me. I'll shoot it inside forward 50. Hinge couldn't take it. Edwards is there. It's stuck underneath. And you'd say a forward entry goes begging.
It goes begging because of the work of Cedric Cox there on the outside. He not only, it was a 2 against 1, he not only provided the chase, but he provided the extra pressure to make sure that the receiver mucked it up as well.
Well, a quick kick won't get them out of defensive 50. The Lions to the Swans still alive. We'll have a ball up. Just going back to that as well, it was brutal for the Swans in terms of misfortune because Hinge had been dropped. Pink had run away from him, and if they had have got away, there were 2 men free. But as a result of Cox just slowing them up, it ends up with this stalemate here at centre half forward for Sydney. Jansen, strength as he rips the ball away. Jordan Dawson Turning into a really important player in the third term as the Swans try and just get themselves right back in touch. Here is Hinge, strokes it off the left up towards Ballenden. They're letting him run free. Ballenden slips, gets the head pass inside. Ben Keys' work rate has been outstanding. He just drills it towards the pocket. On this occasion, his foot skills let him down. Beams can't quite believe it.
Yeah, 23 disposals. That was the 24th for Ben Keys. But great running, and I thought he was going to have a ping himself. A little bit unselfish, but just a little bit errant with that pass.
He hasn't played more AFL games for mine. Being straight to the point, a little bit critical of Ben Keys, but he finds the ball. There's no doubt about him. McInerney gets it down. Johnson has his kick smothered. Ends up with Lyon. Goes around the corner. All by himself there was Ballenden. Dropped what he should have taken. That had his handball smothered. It's a let-off for the Swans if they can get away. Murray, leg speed, over the top. Florent has Ronk on the outside. Decides to go to himself. Aaliyah through the corridor. They're lining up here. Edwards goes to half forward. And the kick is a shocker. It lets him down. And Hanley is the man who takes a saving mark in front of Robinson.
Just not getting the ball inside 50 the way they want to, the Swans, but they can here, Will.
Yeah, good from Dawson, attack the football. Speaking of which, William over the front, maybe just did enough to stop the Swans taking the mark. Hayward butters up and throws himself into the contest. We'll have a ball up, but both sides making small errors that almost proved costly. How the Swans are letting Connor Ballenden so free. Maybe it's down to the young man's work rate, but they need to be a lot better on him.
Yeah, red time in the third quarter, so we've got some tired bodies out there at the minute too.
Jordan Foote lays a tackle. It is a free kick. It's going the way of the Swans.
It's against Buick for a hold. He just dragged him down when he didn't have the ball.
It's going Leonardis' way.
Just about to watch the replay here as Leonardis lines up. You just see it. Good call, Kanga. He just took him off the ball. Grabbed him by the shorts, more or less.
Leonardis, this is an important kick to bring them within 3 goals. He kicked a goal in last year's grand final, Tyrone Leonardis. They'd love him to kick his first right here in 2017. The kick is errant and might not even have the journey. It is off hands. Pink is battling for it inside the pocket for the Swans. So Pink again goes. He throws the arms out, playing for the free. The Lions get it up towards centre half back. Keys again, ever so important.
And now the foot race is on. 3 Swans, but look at Archie Smith. He's coming to make a contest. He's just going to man up though. Murray gets over. He slipped over. Can Close create a contest? He does. He just got a hand on it, so it's play on. So the Lions, that's a big win for the Lions right there. The Swans had the numbers. They just could not get some clean ball going the other way.
What a crucial slip over that was, and you'll see the ball bouncing freely here, Kanga. Slip, and then, well, they're back in the contest after Sam Murray loses.
Pink now to Edwards. One-on-one contest inside forward 50. Chases on. Here's Dawson. Right there is Hayward. Down to ground he goes. Hinge provides the support. 2-on-1. Handball back to Dawson. They do it well. Although, I was going to say, the kick was almost going to find Leonardis. Buick forced to give a quick handball, although the umpire calls that one a throw. I think there were other ones that were a throw, and that one for me wasn't.
They're just taking too much time. How much time do they think they've got? It's a grand final. They're exiting defensive 50 against the Sydney Swans. They will chase you.
Leonardis wastes the kick inside forward 50, and Archie Smith just chimed in like a good ruckman in defence.
They need to be better here, the Swans. Great example set by Will Hayward before. Laid a great tackle, then a second one. Long ball, Freeman had plenty of it. Here's Ben Ronk, just dinks it into forward 50. Jordan Foote has the mark. There's probably only one other player he wouldn't like to see on the mark from that distance, off from the Lions. That'd be Oscar McInerney.
Jordan.
Archie Smith.
With similar heights, but I think you're dead right. McInerney's got a few centimetres, but 21st disposal for Jordan Foote. Had a great game so far.
The 21-year-old from Maroubra loads up. A big shot late in the third term.
Hang on.
The umpires will confer. It looks pretty good. Jordan Foote to bring them within 15. 29 and a half minutes played in the third term of this NEAFL grand final, and touched is the call. It
took 4 of them to make the call, and they've decided it was touched.
You'll never see it from this angle. He did get a touch to it, and he was confident that he did actually get a hand to it in Michael Close, but a controversial call.
The only thing I'll say is the boundary umpires were in good position there to assist the goal umpire. The Swans, though, they have it back. O'Riordan, he's tackled, and tackled hard on that occasion by Jansen, and Jansen just gives him a shove and says, mate, that should have been my free kick. And getting up a bit ginger is the man from County Tipperary, of course, and he's coming off the ground.
Apparently it's a long way there.
It's a short way to the bench. He doesn't look in a great way. They were quick to say time to come off, but maybe the time clock has played a factor in that.
Murray, run down by Jansen, did it well. And he lets him know again. He did the same in the last tackle he laid. And he did the same. He's fired up, is Jared Jansen. Gives it the heave-ho up towards McInerney. There also is Smith. McInerney with the big hand over the top. Clay Beams now. Josh Clayton, the race is on. The Swans have numbers back there. It's Marsh. It bounces up. It's going to make it difficult for them. Talia Gruer's there. A fresh air shot there from O'Sullivan. It's tied up though. Free kick. It'll go the Swans' way. Lucky to get away with it yet again.
They're under siege, the Swans. See that ball bounce. What a horrible bounce for him, but he did cop the high contact after Blake Gruer just tackled him in that instance, but put the Swans under pressure. That bounced on his head.
The Swans have been mucking around with it. They will survive. An enthralling third quarter, and the Lions have taken their chances after trailing at quarter time by 4 points and leading by 3 at half time. They've dominated the Swans for much of the third term and take a 20-point lead into the final change. Is an upset on the cards? Well, it's certainly looking the Lions' way at the moment. At three-quarter time, it is the Brisbane Lions, 11 goals 9, 75, leading the Swans 7 goals 13. They've been wasteful, the Swans. The Lions have built a pretty handy lead. Three-quarter time, gents, what do the coaches say?
Well, 20 points the margin, 20 scoring shots apiece, but the Lions hold sway. If you were the Sydney Swans coaching staff, Kanga, I think you'd be imploring them to take the game on, like they did in that third quarter, but lower their eyes, look for those targets inside forward 50, and don't give Eagles and William a chance to fade back and intercept the ball. What do you think? Just basically hitting your targets, approaching forward 50.
Well, I'd change their forward structure, to be honest. I think that what they might do here, or they should do, is stick the likes of Rose a bit deeper and more one out, and maybe just throw another smaller, faster player around him and change, because the Lions have got those tools back in there. They need to put Eagles out of his comfort zone. They need to change things up a little and really just change the way they're going about it. They're getting enough ball inside their forward 50, but they're just not being able to find the correct manner in which to really manufacture goals.
The Lions did step up a little bit score-wise there, Will. We talked about the inside 50s. Sydney had the ascendancy. The Lions dragged it back in. Sydney are back out to a 7-point margin in the inside 50s, but they're still trailing the game. So, again, I might be harping on it, but they're not effectively exposing the Lions in attack, in defence, when they're putting the ball inside attacking 50.
And interestingly, before the Lions came to their coaches, they just stopped at centre-half, or what was centre-half forward, just the players. They wanted a few moments with themselves before they went to the coaches. Didn't quite see who was leading it, perhaps a Clay Beams, but those listed leaders, so important from them just to bring everybody together and maybe just remind each other they are leading the overwhelming premiership favourites by 20 at the final break.
Now, I agree, and that was a great statement from their leadership group. Clay Beams, the captain, and the older players like Rowan Buick, who's had 100 AFL games. They've got experience, and the Jared Jansens of the world, they want to be able to impart that experience onto some of these kids and say, hey, we're in a great position. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's a quarter to play. But I think Sydney will be saying exactly the right same thing. You can see on screen now, I keep saying Craig Davis. That was his dad. Which Davis? Nick, there you go. But Nick Davis is actually imploring his players there just to take the game on. Be their brilliant selves. Be James Rose. Be Toby Pink, who gets the ball and break away from your opponent. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. And But the Lions have been happy once they get control of the ball to really take the game on as
Yes,
well.
exactly right.
You know, Jacob Allison in that quarter, he hadn't had a lot of it in that quarter, but what he's done, he has brought some real class and good touches to the game. We know he's kicked some goals and done those sorts of things, but he's always looked dangerous and efficient when he gets the ball going forward. Here's the big conundrum, and rules are made to be broken, or records are made to be broken, I should say. The Lions have never lost a final in NEAFL competition.
Correct.
The Sydney Swans have never, at 3 attempts, mind you, won the NEAFL Grand Final. Are things going to be broken? Because right now it looks like status quo is going to be kept, because the Lions really are taking the game on and doing it. It's going to take a massive effort from the Sydney Swans.
I think it is. And you talked about early the midfield structure of both teams. Sydney Swans are an extremely strong midfield group. The Brisbane Lions, I didn't think were at the same level, but the stats are bearing that out. Ben Keys, for his faults and failings, is leading the stats count with 25 disposals. He's had the 6 tackles. He's had 6 clearances and kicked 2 goals too as well. You've got a couple of goals out of Jacob Allison. You can see why he was elevated into the AFL senior side, and he stayed there for an extended run of games because of the fact that he does take a game on, but he does hit targets. For the Sydney Swans, they've got to get some help for Jordan Foote and Jordan Dawson. The two Jordans are absolutely superb. Jordan Dawson's got 24 disposals with 3 goals to his name, 8 inside 50s. Jordan Foote, 22 disposals and 6 inside 50s as well. But they need some help in that midfield, Kanga. They need some protection.
Well, that they do, and right now, for mine, they've got to kick at least 5 goals, considering if Brisbane kick at least 1. So there's a lot of work to do for the Swans here.
Yeah, it's all ahead of us here. The 4th and final quarter of the 2017 NEAFL season. Do the Lions upset the Swans, or do the Swans come back and win their first NEAFL premiership? Mark Kanga-Kennedy to start the final term.
Well, it is the last one of the season. Smith went high. Keys overruns it. Hayward's there. It's tapped away from him, though. Keys eventually comes away. Plenty of the football tonight. Close is there. He slips over. Aliir doesn't, though. Keeps his footing, at least, and goes down deep. Coming out to meet it was Pink. Eagles with the good spoil. They've got it going their way now. Edwards looking for a target. Rose is there. They made the move like I asked them to. Rose, though, he's got it back. Turns him around. Cox is right there with him. He centres it up. Pink! I thought Jansen had the run at it, but Pink just came at the right time. Met the ball at a nice trajectory. And a good take. At
its highest point, well done. And, of course, this is what we asked from the Sydney Swans. Get Rose involved. Get Pink involved. And if he kicks this, it is game on, gentlemen.
From right in front. Crucial kick. Pink hits the post. That's 3 times.
That's 3 times for the one player.
Yep. And that's an amazing stat in itself. Great numbers there.
The Lions bring it back in there in strife. Dawson has it. Dawson loads up. Another one-step shot on goal from Jordan Dawson, and another massive strike from him. His 4th in at the NEAFL Grand Final, and he has a knack of delivering when they need it. Jordan Dawson setting this 2017 NEAFL decider alight, and the Swans are back within 13 points.
Well, he did set it alight off one step. Beautiful stuff. This kid is amazing. 4 goals, 1 for the day. He's had 25 disposals and 8 inside 50s to his name. In a side that's losing by 13 points at the moment, it's probably a tie between himself and Ben Keys as who would get the best on ground honours.
Great composure as always from Dawson. He has such balance and such strength. You can't teach balance in an athlete. Dawson has it in absolute spades.
A goal in each of the 4 quarters now. Jordan Dawson, crucial time in this game. Tippett, it's it back. Leonardis, kick went up in the air. Comes down. Who's going to take it away? Brewer. He lost it, but Clay Beam's got it straight away. Right to forward 50. Freeman tapped it to Close. Gets the run of it, taps it to Clayton. Clayton to Keys. Keys slips over, keeps it in. Leonardis is there, he slips over. The ball eventually ricochets off the foot of Brewer over for a behind. A comedy of errors. Almost saw a goal and almost saw the Swans come away with it.
Important from Aaliyah, you're never out of it in the game of Australian rules football. And it is a little bit slippery underfoot. We've seen a couple of players lose their footing. And that is a poor disposal. It's broken up by Jared Jansen, who's had a pretty strong second half so far. Jansen goes long, asks his forwards to leap for it, and the only body that got anywhere near it was Laidler. He moved it quickly, maybe rushed, but it goes through Dawson. The mark has been dropped and almost a heavy collision between Hinge and Pink, and a high contact free kick was paid. Eagles goes up towards close, so it's frenetic stuff, a little bit scrappy from both sides in their disposal of the football. Marsh goes to Aaliyah. Aaliyah threads the needle to Leonardis beautifully. He just goes long.
Coming back there was Eagles, couldn't affect the mark. Pink, he tried to lay the tackle on Hinge. Hinge spins out of it. He gets the ball again from Eagles. They're messing around. They're in trouble and he's gone. Rose, he's just bringing himself into the game. 3 touches into this quarter. He gives it quickly to Pink. Puts him under pressure, but they find foot. Here they come, the Swans.
Oh.
And a precision pass. Very precise, finds Robinson.
How about that? How appropriate that this bloke is named Foot, because that was one of the most delightful kicks of a football I've seen in a long time.
So Dan Robinson right in front. He hangs it out to the right, though. A bad miss under the circumstances. No pressure other than, I suppose, the weight of the game, admittedly.
No
but player of his skill should be able to kick those.
He absolutely should. As Cox goes to Ruben William, play on. So William goes up towards Eagles. Started the game very well. And he's been a little bit quiet since. He was captain of the Lions NEAFL side in their prelim win over Sydney University. Has relinquished that role to Clay Beams as the Lions rotate it as per usual in 2017. It's a big mark out there from Michael Close and a decent kick. Here is tonight's captain, Clay Beams. Won a premiership with the Lions back in 2013. Clay Beams, or was it 2012? Might have been 2012. Now they go long. Clayton sets it up. McInerney looming. McInerney flies! Oscar McInerney takes to the skies. A huge mark in a big moment of this grand final. McInerney just set himself beautifully.
Oh, watch the big man go. He set himself, and that's one of the few clunks he's taken tonight. In fact, it's only his second mark, but that's what he can do in a big moment. They're salivating at the progression of this boy.
Well, Oscar McInerney lost a grand final in the VFL with Casey last year. This to put the Lions in the box seat in the NEAFL grand final, and he misses everything other than a row double X here at the SCG. Big miss from McInerney, needs to be better. He's kicked plenty of goals this season.
Did the right thing with the mark, did not so much with the kick. Coming over the top there was Hayward. Now it's Marsh, gets it back to the middle of the ground. Only to Hinge, swings on the left. Puts it down deep. McInerney provides the contest. Lyons provides off the ground and kicks a ripper.
Now,
what about McInerney? Impacted the contest, put the go-go gadget arm out, and Lyons at the ground level did the rest.
what a spectacular finish too from Corey Lyon. But I've got to point out, in the middle of the ground, we just missed it there, but James Rose, when Mitchell Hinge had the ball in the middle of the ground and took off from that marking contest, James Rose put on a very poor chase in the middle, and it wasn't up to the standard of a grand final. That's why they got the ball down there. That's why they scored a goal. Disappointing effort from Rose there.
Spot on there as well. Kanga about McInerney, impacting it just enough. So the margin out to 19 points, so greater than 3 straight kicks.
Be telling we've played 7.5 minutes here in the fourth and final term. Swans have trimmed that margin. It's just one away from the three-quarter time advantage of the Lions. Toby Pink is back into the ruck. And the Lions look to go forwards on the back of Archie Smith's ruck work. Laidler has it, gets it outside. The kick is smothered. Good work from Rowan Buick. The Lions can't keep control. Jordan Foote around the outer side. Here's Jack Payne, 17 years old. Good pressure from the Swans. The Lions through Liam Dawson. Ignored Ken Hanley. Sullivan. Long around the boundary line. Campbell Walker, another of the academy players, misses his target, and it is out of play, and we will have a ball in.
I do like the fact that the Brisbane Tools, they just bring it to the front nicely, and that's, if they're not marking it, they're giving the Smalls every opportunity.
I think that's the big difference between what's happening with the Tools of Sydney as well.
So Jansen just gets a toe on it, gets it going the Lions' way. Leonardis, he's bowled over. Brewer goes after the ball. Now Jansen again weaving through. The hands come to Jack Clayton. He hasn't had a lot of it. But on this occasion, even when he did get it, he was tied up. He got the ball from Walker there. The two academy boys combining couldn't quite affect what they wanted to.
The tackling stats 51 apiece, so both sides still cracking in.
Smith gets it from the ruck and then just shoots it a goal. Was errant, the one behind results.
He's played his role, Archie Smith, today. He only had the 5 touches, but 28 hit-outs as well.
Along from the Swans, but it'll be a free kick. It's going Sydney's way for a block. It's going in Kurt Tippett's favour. Players now streaming up towards Sydney's forward 50. Kurt Tippett from almost the last line of defence goes towards Jordan Foote. It's 2 against 1. And it falls to ground. Jordan Foote battling solidly. Great maturity from Campbell Walker to keep him out of it. Then Walker gets the hand pass, goes long. Fist over the top. All in dispute. Aaliyah up against O'Sullivan. Coming through with purpose is Jeremy Laidler. Over the top to Fisher. Left foot kick into forward 50. Edwards one out against Jack Payne. And Edwards on the third bite takes a big mark inside attacking 50. Sean Edwards has been involved without taking this game by the scruff of the neck. He's already got one. This would be a big second.
Yeah, you can just see the juggling effort there. Well called, Will. He had 2 players to deal with, and well, probably lucky to get that third grab. But Sean Edwards, he's got to get this one for the Swans. 10 minutes gone, final term, 20 points the margin. They need this.
Edwards lining up for goal number 2. Big kick, and it doesn't have the legs. Do the Swans have a mark? It'll hit the deck, so still in dispute. Off the deck, and it's a goal for the Swans. Ben Ronk stands tall at a big moment here for the Sydney Swans in the NEAFL Grand Final. It is a 14-point ball game and a timely moment for Ronk to kick his opening goal of the game.
Yep, have a look at the kick here. It was a floater. It gets to the right spot. Front of the pack, enough Lions there, but Ronk just was in the right place at the right time, uses the right foot, just side foots it into the back of the net. The Socceroos could have used him against Thailand with their 75 shots. But more importantly, it's back to a 14-point ball game, 11.5 gone in the final term. We're down to the extra time, fellas. We're going to get it. Swans will keep coming.
14 points. Got a cliffhanger. McInerney in the ruck against Tippett. Give it to McInerney on that occasion. Tippett follows it up. Roosts it high to half forward. Cox is there. Ronk won the ball. Gives it inside. Murray right to forward 50. To the near side. That would have just about lifted all the Swan supporters, and there's plenty hiding up around the stands here. Especially in this members area side of things, it would have really lifted them.
They're coming here, the Swans. They really are. Brisbane just need to settle.
So Cox goes long. Ballenden had hands on it. Marsh couldn't take it effectively. Murray, or Fisher could, inside forward 50. William just tries to punch it. Now he grabs it. Now he's held up. Surely that'll be a ball up. Yes, it will be. Inside forward 50. 30 metres out from the Swans' goal.
Oh, the big names for the Swans are all lurking there. Rose and Jack. Tippett's coming in. Fisher's been good. Jordan Foote just off the side as well. Tippett, 2 hands to it. Robinson, the one that went without mention. Here's James Rose. Rose, one way, then the other, over the top. Leonardis from hard up against the boundary line. It's across the face. Is a mark there to be taken? Toby Pink can't. Through for a minor score, but any score will do at the moment.
The Brisbane.
Dawson's having a bit of a...
I was about to say, Dawson meet Dawson. It's a family affair. As Liam gets onto Jordan there and gives him some. Of course, Liam Dawson playing for the Brisbane Lions, and back in 2014 he was a member of the Aspley NEAFL side that won the premiership in a dramatic fashion against Sydney.
Hinge tried to roost it. It only went as far as Talia. Big kick deep into attack. Swans player lost their footing. Again, another behind, so they are inching ever closer. The margin now 11, but geez, a goal would be more than handy for the Swans at the moment. They've had their opportunities.
26 scoring shots to 23, so they've had the ball in there and we've kept harping on it. They just need to be more efficient.
Cox played onto himself. Up there, Tippett only got the one hand up. Brisbane get the ball forward. McInerney's got a bit of space. He got it from Beams. Now to Ballenden. Where's he going to go? Comes off the side of his boot. What's the umpire going to pay here?
You can't call a skill error deliberate. That is against the spirit of football. You cannot call a skill error deliberate.
It certainly went off the side of his boot. I don't think anybody disputes that. But it's history now as Murray brings it in the middle. Alia, they've got some run. Florent from the back to Ronk, or Maybaum. Goes long, inside forward 50. McInerney's there with the big fist was Dawson for the Lions. It falls to ground. Pink off the ground. Across the face.
As Mitchell Hinge was the offender going up and down in the one spot there, just allowed the Swans player. There was so much space, almost a crucial error. You can just see it here, up and down on the one spot. It was almost let in for a goal. Great effort under a lot of pressure.
So Hinge just kicks it to the 50. Kicks it looking for some of the academy boys. Walker and O'Sullivan ends up with Edwards. Now to Orion. He turns. He goes. It's online. Here they come, the Bloods. 4 points now, the difference here at the SCG. We have an absolute nail-biter.
Now that's a finish. Watch it come out here. Clever little kick. Umpire calls him to play on. But the Irishman wheels around onto the right shoe and bangs it through. Here come the Swannies. And we're going to get some extra time, lads. Come on.
We've been predicting it from before the opening bounce, and it is looking like coming to fruition, certainly. We have a habit in this NEAFL competition of a tight cliffhanger grand final. The Swans have lost 3. They are 0 from 3, and the biggest losing margin is 8 points. That was against the Lions in 2013. They lost last year's decider by 4 points. And the year 2014, they lost by just a couple. They're trying to right that ship and win their first NEAFL grand final. Jack off the side of the boot. Rose getting involved, can't take the mark. Liam Dawson hurriedly up towards the wing. And Harry Marsh got it off O'Sullivan, who slipped, and Marsh sends it long. Fisher flies, but he can't get hands to the ball. Pink wrapped in a tackle, dropped the football. The Lions out of trouble ever so slightly. Payne up towards O'Sullivan. Great skill from him. Took it on the bounce, but good involvement from Sam Fisher. Casts the net solidly and works it out of play. It'll be a ball in, left half forward for the Swans.
Here comes the noise of affirmation as well from the Sydney Swans stand, and they loved it when the ball was knocked over the boundary line there by Sam Fisher. They're right behind their side here. They're trying to bring them home.
Tippett and Smith. Tippett, front spot, tried to get it to the back, couldn't do so. Down to ground, there was Lyons, wrapped up by Tippett and also Robinson. Have a stalemate there. Tippett parting Physicality on the contest. Tippett again with the hit out. Robinson with the clearance goes high, right to forward 50. Dawson, third man across. Did well to knock the ball out of bounds. We'll have a throw in inside the Swans forward 50. It has been very, very willing on the Swans going their way.
Comes in and over the top of the ruck contest, and there is a free kick. It's going the way of Archie Smith. Smith has it. Just settles things down for the Lions. 18 minutes played here in the grand final. A big fly from Ballenden. Can't take the mark and it falls from Maybom. Hurriedly just throws it on the boot. It goes higher than it does long. Tippett flies. Smith had no eyes for the ball. They get away with it there. Beams has it. Hand pass short to Keys. Hurriedly it'll bounce up towards Cox, who almost got goal side. Alira's involved in Maybom again. The intensity has lifted. The tempo's rising. A quick kick coming from Leonardis, up towards Robinson. Smith up against a few. A chance again for the Swans. They trail by 4. Rose scoots towards goal and it's away to the left. Death by 1,000 cuts here for the Swans faithful at the SCG. A 3-point deficit.
Again, a chance to ice this game, or at least put their noses in front, and they've turned it over here. Brisbane, Sydney, another chance.
Edwards kicks it inside forward 50. Lions have the numbers. Eagles comes over the top, kills it. I'll say this now, boys. The Lions, they need to kick another goal to win it. Of course, the Swans, another kick will put them in front. You're just not sure which way this is going to go all of a sudden.
Could be a case of next goal wins, Kanga.
Tippett and Smith. Bit of a stalemate there. Buick lays a good tackle. Rolls his man on his side. Play on's the call. Ruben Williams just taps it out. Brewer gets a rush kick away. What's this going to do? If it goes out, Alia is happy to have it out and is happy to go and try and take it from the stoppage, the Swans.
And again, congested play. They're all up forward of the centre of the ground. Every player on the field. This is going to be an intense finish to this game.
Tippett assumes front spot. Robinson finds a bit of space. It's up in the air. It's inside forward 50. Goes to ground. Ronk gets on it. Goes inside it. Oh! He's wiped out by the goal post. If he can pay too high for hitting a goal post, he would have got a free kick.
I don't know if he's ever been so happy to see the Golden Arches there, Ben Ronk.
Have a look at the replay here, boys, as we've got a little bit of a stoppage. Face first into the Golden Arches and the wrapping on the post. And he got straight back up. Well done.
Oh, hearts and mouth stuff there from Ben Ronk. But the Lions again survive. 2 points the margin now. They were up by as much as 28 in that third term. They led by 20 at three-quarter time. And they are holding the Swans at bay by just about the slenderest of margins. We will have a ball up on centre wing. Broadcast side here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The Lions looking for NEAFL Premiership number 3. They've never lost a grand final. They are 2 from 2. The Swans have never won one. They are 0 from 3, and they are battling hard to get back in front. Gronk maybe caught high. It was Wicks rather, who came in as a late replacement for Harry Cunningham, and he wins the free kick. So Sam Wicks, 17 years old, he turns 18 next week. He's playing his role here for the Swans NEAFL side. Speaking of playing his role, Jordan Dawson doing that and some. Here's Sam Murray taking off from defensive 50, sends it towards forward 50, and Eagles stands up. He's keen to be counted for the Lions.
Reckon he's had a ripping game in defence, Matthew Eagles. 14 disposals, but he's had 7 rebound 50s. He's rejecting all the time.
Kick was a dicey one. They might get away with it. Lions, he was almost tripped for mine. Handball back, they're in trouble. Hinge ripped off it. Now Rose, he didn't like it. As soon as he kicked it, it went out of bounds on the full. So hard in your mouth stuff.
It's got to be frustrating there. James Rose, quality footballer. He's just not hitting the ball well from a distance in front of goal at the moment, and a lot of opportunities gone.
Payne gives it everything from defence. Josh Clayton gets it down to the wing. 1-on-1 contest. And Freeman outpointed by Michael Talia. Out of wing, puts it back down in deep. Tippett was there. It was Murray. It rolls it towards the goal. It's right to the goal square. Who leads the charge? Eagles. Payne. The kick is a good one to the outer side and finds Cedric Cox.
Great awareness from Eagles as well to keep that in play. If they rush that over, it's a 1-point ball game. And with the way the Swans are shooting on goal, every point counts. Into forward 50 again, and Jordan Foote wraps his arms around the Sherrin.
Now this would be almost poetic. Jordan Foote's had 25 touches. That's his 9th mark, 7 inside 50s. He's kicked it behind. If he kicks a goal here, the Swannies are in front, and they are on fire at the minute.
Now, Foote has had an outstanding year, often blanketing the opposition's best ball winner. And here he is to put the Swans in front late in the NEAFL Grand Final. Foote misses. One behind. The 22nd blemish on the Swans scorecard, and it is a 1-point ball game.
Dare I say it, here comes extra time, boys.
Well, can Michael Price be the man who looks into the crystal ball? We'll ask him for the lotto numbers next. Kick comes out. Jansen wrapped up by Robinson. Bit fanciful. Didn't really have a chance. Fair call.
Is it fair to say now that tactics and everything go out the window now, Kanga? It's just a matter of who wins every contest every time.
Robinson to down, play beams. Hanley has his kick smothered. It stays in the field of play at the moment. Leonardis gets a left foot down there. But Eagles is the man who was resolute in defence, gives it to Cox. Cox gets a handball out. Allison picks up through the middle of the SCG. The umpire's down. Now off to Josh Clayton. Clayton goes long towards the goal. They'll be happy if it goes out of bounds. It won't. It stays in. Talia keeps it in. The kick isn't a good one. Josh Clayton sits it up. Keys flew high. Beams. Was he taken high? Umpire says no. In fact, he says yes. It will be a... Will it be a free kick?
Let's have a look at the replay here, Kanga. Ball gets bombed up, dangerous spot, good defence from the Sydney Swans, picked up by Beams. If that's not high, I'm not here.
The umpire actually reached at his shoulder even just to signify. We play on. Dawson for the Swans tries to get it out. The Lions, they attack though.
This could be the moment for the Lions. Ben Keys has been immense. Gets it outside. The shot on goal comes from the Lions, and it is behind. Hanley.
Kean Hanley there. The Irishmen are trading blows in the final term here at the SCG.
So Hanley returns serve. Trading behinds at the SCG. A long kick from the Swans. It falls over the back. Aaliyah gathers the football, then drops it. Hanley again involved, gets the hand pass to Jansen. Good pressure from the Swans, and the ball trickles towards the boundary line. And deliberate again has been given. It's consistent at least, but both times it's against the Lions.
Mic drop.
Well, this was tough.
Look at this one.
A lot of pressure coming from the Swans. I think it was Robinson. And off the instep of the boot under all sorts of pressure, the free kick is given. Aaliyah has it. Defensive side of the centre square. 26 minutes has been played in this 2017 Grand Final. Leonardis is in all sorts of trouble. Buick wraps him up, gets to his feet, and then just slides underneath Leonardis' legs. Ball up at left half forward.
I think the whistle's getting put away a little bit there because what a magnificent tackle you'll see from Rowan Buick coming in. But could have been actually pinged for holding the ball himself at the end. Just having a look at the discussion the umpire's having here with Archie Smith and the ruckman as well.
Plenty of players around the contest. Have a stalemate there. Nervous times. I think everybody around the ground's feeling it.
27 gone.
Smith was Florin. Foot had it was touched off the boot. Leonardis around the corner. Eagles. He flies. Spreads those wings and takes the mark.
He has been key for the Brisbane Lions in defence. They would have been lost without him tonight, Matthew Eagles.
puts it down deep. Tippett, a timely contested mark, gets it to Harry Marsh. They launch it inside forward 50 again. Rose is there. Cedric Cox, he just puts it back out. Archie Smith happy to tap it down. Jansen to McInerney. They'll put it down. Where's this one going to go? Out of bounds on the floor. No dispute about the free kick there.
No, it's a foot over the line. That's a definite free kick.
Talia has it for the Swans, who need to come back. He had Laidler free. The Lions able to try and close those short options down. Talia forced to go long. Rose can't get a fly at it. The fist came from Hinge. It falls for Smith. It was behind Cedric Cox, but they had Jansen and Ruben William in support. Cox now has an acre of room to work into. It's an open goal square. Cox almost took too long. He had Beams outside. And a really strong moment for the Lions just to settle.
Oh, Cedric Cox kept his head there. He could have just pinged away at 50. You can see him running up here. He looked out to his right and he kicked it to his captain in Clay Beams, knowing he's got 30 seconds for a set shot. That is mature play for a bloke who's came out of the draft system last year.
Clay Beams, 38 disposals in the prelim and best on ground in the 2012 Northern Conference Grand Final. Followed it up with a Grand Final the week later. He loads up and again they miss the shot on goal. One behind again for the Lions. They lead by 3. A goal for either side will do it.
They're going to play on quickly. Taking the play on. That they are. They need to now. Talia goes down deep. Pink. But outpointed by Matt Eagles,
the recruit. He's almost been best on ground, Kango. He's been electrifyingly good today.
And there it is! The Brisbane Lions are premiers. NEAFL 2017. The heartbreak for the Sydney Swans continues.
Well, there it is, the Lions, the 2017 NEAFL Premiers. We are going to head down onto the ground of the Sydney Cricket Ground to Jess Webster and the Lions captain.
Clay Beams, after what was an incredible 2017 NEAFL Grand Final, 3 points. How's the heart rate?
Oh, it's pretty fast. I wasn't sure how long was left towards the end there, but our defenders that last quarter were absolutely massive. They got us over the line, and you know, we've had a really good year. We backed ourselves all year. No one gave us a chance today. Really proud of the boys. Massive effort. 3-point win, we'll take it.
You had a pretty good lead in the third quarter, and then Sydney were coming, and they just kept coming and coming and coming. In that last quarter, did you think we've absolutely got this, or was there a moment where you thought, no, we can't let it slip?
Oh, it was pretty scary there for a while there. Obviously, we had the lead at three-quarter time. They're a quality team. We knew they'd come. I think the siren went at a good time for us, so it's good to get the win.
So many views on the NEAFL live stream watching this game. A lot of them Brisbane Lions supporters from back home. Do you have a message for the fans of this football club who have been through some tough times in recent years, but to see this at NEAFL level and so many young kids stepping up today, do you have a message for the fans back home?
Oh, look, we appreciate the support the fans have given us. It's obviously been a few tough years, the last few years, and I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You can see that this year with how our senior team went, and then obviously the twos winning the flag. So the light's at the end of the tunnel, and they've stuck by us, so hopefully we can repay them in the near future.
Clay, thank you so much for your time. Go and enjoy it.
No worries, thank you.
Premiership winning captain Clay Beams in the NEAFL. What a season he's had for this side. Took the captaincy in this NEAFL decider. Well, Mark Kanga-Kennedy, the Lions are 3-0 in NEAFL deciders for the Swans. Norton 4, and every single one of those grand final losses from Sydney has been fewer than 8 points. 8 points was the greatest losing margin. That was against the Lions in 2013. Heartbreak for them, but they certainly had their chances.
Well, you can't take anything away from the Brisbane Lions, but as you mentioned, the Sydney Swans, I mean, they've kicked 10 goals, 22, so that right there says it all. This is heartbreak for them. 2 years in a row, they were beaten by less than a kick in season 2016 by GWS. They were beaten by Aspley a couple of years prior, right on the final siren. This has got to be gut-wrenching for them. But the Brisbane Lions just show that resolve, show that real fortitude. They were challenged at the end and they held firm. The player, Matt Eagles, at the end, though, who was resolute, but he had plenty of friends that applied the pressure as the Swans pressed so hard.
Yeah, quite the performance from Brisbane under pressure. Just sitting there watching the Swans time after time kicking minor scores. They led by as much as 28 during that third term, Brisbane. It was 20 at three-quarter time, and it was down to a 1-point ball game late in that fourth term. The Swans, well, a couple of the experienced players as well, missing plenty of shots. James Rose unable to get himself in the majors column, but a terrific performance from them. Toby Pink hit the post 3 times. He had 4 behinds for the game, Toby Pink. And as we said earlier in the game, he won the under-18 grand final in South Australia with a behind after the siren. Unfortunately for him this evening, it was the blemishes on the scoreboard that have helped be his side's undoing. For Reece Shaw, though, 2 minor premierships in his 2 years in charge and 2 heartbreaking losses in the grand final. On the other side, Mitch Hahn, what a job from him, taking them from a wooden spoon. Again, the Lions have gone from a wooden spoon to a premiership.
An amazing result, isn't it? And the Brisbane Lions, we've seen a real turnaround in their club as a whole. They finished bottom, they got the wooden spoon at the AFL, but I've never heard about a club so optimistic about the future at that level. And then what their NEAFL team has done, you can see the change in the culture, the change in the attitude, and the way they've embraced the academy players who played their part tonight, and then got around all those listed players and the young players coming in, the experienced players. You've got to take your hat off to the Brisbane Lions as a football club. Like the Sydney Swans in so many ways, they are just a football factory, and some of their academy players that are coming through, and the job Reece Shaw is doing, absolutely wonderful. And what a great spectacle for the NEAFL. This is 4 years in a row that the grand final has been decided by less than a goal.
Yeah, quite amazing. And just touching on Reece Shaw, the job he's doing with this NEAFL side, you've got players seamlessly working their way up into the AFL team as well, and knowing the role that is required of them. They've been playing some outstanding football this year, but credit here to the 2017 NEAFL premiers, the Brisbane Lions. They had the Swans measure 2 out of the 3 games in the regular season. The only 2 losses the Swans suffered were against the Lions, and again, they have Sydney Swans measure in the NEAFL in 2017. We had a side in the Lions who led the league in the fewest clangers per game, in the most effective use of the ball as well, and they really, again, held their measure against the Swans.
Go down to Michael Price, who is the Master of Ceremonies this evening.
And congratulations to the Sydney Swans and the Brisbane Lions for their fantastic seasons, culminating in a thrilling grand final. And again, we've witnessed one of the great games in the NEAFL here at the SCG tonight. Put your hands together for both sides. We went through it so well this evening. service for the game in both states, New South Wales and Queensland, as well as the state of Victoria, to come forward and present the Andrew Island Medal for best on ground. Andrew Island. It was a very close decision. I think they're still debating it between two players. In the end, it went to the Brisbane Lions, Ben Keys. Congratulations, Ben. It's now time to present the premiership medals to the players and the coach from the Brisbane Lions. Presenting the medals will be Andrew Wellington, Deputy Chairman of the Brisbane Lions. And we'll start off, just make sure that you're out here. Number 1, Ben Keys. Number 8, Rowan Bjork. Number 11, Keegan Hanley. Jared Jansen. Josh Clayton. Number 20, Cedric Cox. Number 24, Liam Dawson. At 33, Michael Post. Number 34, Jono Freeman. Number 37, Jacob Allison. Number 39, Corey Lyons. Number 41, I'm sure he was in that conversation in the middle, Matthew Eagles. Number 42, Mitchell Hinge. Number 44, Archie Smith. Number 46, Oscar McAdoo. Number 47, Ruben Williams. Number 48, Blake Brewer. Number 52, Jack Clayton. Number 53, Campbell Walker.
so proud of what we've been able to achieve this year. There's a few people that I want to thank individually, the coaching staff, led by Chris Wade at the top, but certainly the guys who I work closely with, Scotty Borlays, Nathan John, Paul Henderson, and Rob Lucas. Thank you guys. To Alan Christensen for his work. To the supporters who made the trail up, we love your support, so thank you very much. Just for the boys, to finish off, it's just great for our footy club, the journey that we're on, and the guys that have put into the program this year. And let's enjoy this week.
And present the 2017 NEAFL Premiership Cup to the winning team, the Brisbane Lions.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank the Sydney Swans, and would you please congratulate the Brisbane Lions on their NEAFL Cup here this afternoon, receiving $10.22 to Sydney Swans, 82 Brisbane Lions victorious, 12-13, 85. Thanks very much, folks, for sticking around and watching the whole game of NEAFL AFL at the SCG earlier today. 65-point funding the Sydney Swans over the Essendon Bombers. So the Sydney Swans take on the Geelong Cats next Friday night at the MCG. Next time we're going to the SCG. We wish you a safe trip home.
Well, there it is, the Brisbane Lions, NEAFL Premiers for 2017. Well, Mark Kanga-Kennedy, what a grand final we've seen in the NEAFL yet again. And the Lions able to knock the overwhelming favourites off and lift the 2017 Premiership Cup.
Well, it's a stunning result for the competition from bottom to top in 12 months. But the Sydney Swans vanquished yet again. But to the victor go the spoils.
Absolutely, a terrific encounter, and we hope you've enjoyed it here live on NEAFL TV, right around Australia and indeed around the world, wherever you've been tuning in. My name's Will Davies, and on behalf of Mark Kanga-Kennedy, Michael Price and the rest of the NEAFL media team, thanks for your company as always here throughout the NEAFL season, and we look forward to having your company again next year. Bye for now.